This is a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production. This is the #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock Blockers, let's go.
I know the whole city rising. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Phins for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. Who that? To a time.
What up, baby? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How y'all doing today? It is your boy, Stephen D. Good morning, my Phins family and my Fin-laws. Super excited to be hanging out with y'all today. It's Spread Kindness Friday. Well, we're going to have a good show today. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Spread Kindness Friday. We out here. How y'all doing today? Good morning. Good morning. Clock Blockers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I'm your host, Stephen D. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Stephen D. SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love everywhere. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, especially this weekend. I'll be watching the Lakers game this weekend. That guy, LeBron James, maybe you've heard of him. I'm going to watch him this weekend. And I'm just going to let y'all know right now, it's going to be fun. Y'all can get at me. I hope Level 2 Noob's in there this weekend. I want to go at it with Level 2 Noob this weekend on Twitter with the memes. Let's go. Dylan Brooks about to get this smoke. I'm excited for this weekend. Anyways, you can also follow Miami Sports Music everywhere at Miami Sports Music or at MIA Sports Music. Dolphin Don says, man, strong hat game, Steven. Flavor J says, fire lid. Bro, let's just get something straight. My hat game is strong. I'm going to make you boys strong. Remember Major Payne? One tubby. Yes, seriously. It's I love that. I love that movie. It's such a good movie. Also, hey, look, if you want to hit that like button, hit it, tap it, whatever you got to do to it. Make sure y'all do it. No, seriously, hit the like button. I'm not playing with y'all. Hit it. If you have not done it right now, I'm coming through here, and I'm just going to smack you a little bit. Just smack you around. Just going to smack you around a little bit. Level 2 Noob says, I'm at the airport waiting to fly to LA right now. I told you, he ain't scoring 40. I'm about to Tanya Harding that LeBron kneecap. I need these Bills fans gone. That's so bad. That's so bad, man. Your cap game isn't strong, Stephen D. Or your cap game isn't cap, Stephen D. Oh, I see what you did there, Adam. My cap gain's not cap. I like that. Good job. Good job. Richard McLean would like to know, can Tuineers join the Wolfpack organization? I don't make the rules. I for the Wolfpack people, that's on them, okay? Those people. Okay. Bob Young says, good morning. I had a fantastic collection of lids. Then my house burned down. It was a sad. William, I'm sorry that your house burned. Don't bring the people down. We got to get you a couple of new hats, William. We're gonna have to have like a support William hat day. Support William ice tray hat day. I'm gonna be with the chat today, man. I am with the chat. I support the noob message. No, that's bad. Don't do that. Don't support the noob message. I just have to come up with my next scam to get rid of these Bills Mafia if LeBron manages 40. I know. And he's going to, so it's gonna happen. Hey, look, join now. Sign up to become a member today. There are plenty of seats waiting at the table for you. So sign up today. Become a member. Become part of the, y'all ready for it? Family. That's right. My Vin Diesel voice isn't Vin Diesel no more, guys. Family. Yeah. When I first started doing the show like 3 years ago, I had the Vin Diesel voice down pat. And you would think after like doing the voice for 3 years that it would get better. It didn't. It got worse. I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened. Sign up to become a member today. That's all I know, though. We'd love to see you. Also, hey, look, if you want to help the channel grow by donating, there's lots of different ways you can do it. You can use the YouTube Live Super Chat, which if you're typing or chatting, you keyboard warriors below, you guys can go ahead and click that little box with the $sign in it. And just test it out. Somebody just test it out. Just make sure. Everybody should test it out. Matter of fact, just everybody test it out. Make sure it works. You know, that's fine. Just make sure that the chat, you know, the super chat works or the super sticker, whatever you need to do. Just, I need y'all to test your button just to make sure it works for everybody. Okay. Look, if you want to help the channel grow and you don't want to do it through YouTube, you can use the $MSM Podcast Network, where you can use PayPal, which is also MSM Podcast Network, or use the QR codes that you just saw on your screen. That's right. You got to sound like more SIGs to sound like that. Look, family. You got to sound like this in the cigarettes commercials. You two can sound like, I'm sorry, that's probably bad. I shouldn't do that. I'm going to get canceled for that, huh? You don't need that. We don't need that. Cruz Ruiz says, leave us chat folk alone. Everybody always yells at me for ignoring the chat. And here I am making sure y'all are doing it. And now I get in trouble. Huh? My checkings is attached to my savings, though, Chase one says. I get it. I understand it, Chase. You see the way my bank account is set up, is it my savings is backed up in my checking. It takes 3 business days. You get it, though. You get it. Steven, you should start a GoFundMe for Noob's bail money. Yeah. GoFundMe for Noob's bail money. I got you, Jose. I see what you did there. Trying to find different ways to raise money for the channel, Jose. I see you, my guy. Good job. Good job. Also, hey, look, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors of the show, ZSM Sports. ZSM Sports. The #1 place to get your cars, jerseys, balls, and hard-to-find items, specializing in sports memorabilia. ZSM Sports. It's in the game. EA Sports. It's in the game. I'm telling you, I could be that guy. I could be that voice. That's my goal in life now. I want to be the EA Sports voice guy. EA Sports. It's in the game. I could do it. I got it. I think I got the voice. Tail Greeter, download the app today on your current Crapple or Android devices. No, seriously, if you have a crapple phone, I feel sorry for you in life. Okay? Feel sorry for you. Just letting you all know. I hate Apple and I hate Apple Care, and they're the worst thing ever. And I said it and I don't regret it. Steven, you might hurt yourself with getting a future sponsorship from Apple. I don't want it. They can stay where they're at, cuz. Dude, your voice is good for EA. EA Sports. It's in the game. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. See, I might be able to be somebody in life. All right. We got a big show lined up for you today. Not as big as we hoped it would be, but that's okay. So look, we thought we were going to have a big guest on today. It didn't come to fruition. We're hoping it didn't come to fruition because of some good reasons. But it didn't come to fruition today, but it might happen in the near future, and especially if some things make it out. So he texted us he texted us yesterday in the afternoon and said, hey, my schedule changed. I'm not able to do it tomorrow, but let's talk early next week about setting something up maybe after the draft. So we were hoping we were going to get it in today. Didn't quite happen. I can't tell you who it is yet, but what I will tell you is it has to do with a potentially big free agent, soon to be free agent, or maybe free agent, or awesome player in the NFL. So let's just know it's a big deal. Okay. And the only reason we don't want to tell you who it is because we want to be respectful of his privacy and what he's trying to accomplish. And when he comes on, you guys will know, and then you'll understand. Oh, I get it. I understand why. You'll get it. You'll understand it. Be careful, Stephen. You're going to end up in a lawsuit for what? The crapple. Care about Apple? Think I'm scared of Apple? They need to go get an orange, cuz I don't scare no Apple. Anyways, yeah, I said it. All right. Got a big show lined up for you today. Otherwise, we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins must select and this year's NFL draft to be successful. And we're going to talk about this Tom Brady fella. He keeps on coming up in the news. Look, man, just stay retired. Stop teasing people. And stop. It's not even teasing for some. It's just like, go away. We don't want you here. Enjoy the beach and other stuff. Don't go into mini conferences. And when they ask you about Dolphin stuff, you were, well, it sounds like Igor off of Winnie the, Winnie, I don't know. Maybe I'll come back, but I got friends. Sound just like Igor, Tom Brady. That's who you sound like. Just saying. Oh, the EA Sports slogan, they may be coming. Oh, I'm good at it, man. Maybe they'll be like, Steven, you got the stuff, man. You definitely have the stuff. Okay. Let's go. Let's do the big thing. Okay? All right. Let me bring on my co-host, my brother from another mother, Mr. Spread Kindness Fridays himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Sarney.
Happy Friday, Steven. Fins up, everybody. How you guys doing?
Well, first of all, let's just say fire jersey, cuz.
Yeah, Ricky Williams has been trending. I don't know why recently.
Yeah, 420 was yesterday. I have no clue why he was trending yesterday. No reason at all.
So none. I figured, you know what? I see his name, see his pictures and his highlights the last 24 hours, so I might as well throw the orange not throwback.
Hey, real quick, let's talk real quick. Is that the best jersey in Dolphins history? I think it is.
I mean, I love him. I love a disgusting knockoff mesh jersey from overseas. I love them all, but this is probably third.
What?
Well, the throwbacks.
The aqua and white.
The aqua or the white throwbacks.
So you put that above the orange jersey.
Easily.
No.
And then I think the 1994 year where they had the patch, the 75th anniversary patch,
That's
I
a good
just
one.
love that whole scheme. And then we got these.
So I love the throwbacks, right? I think they're great. And to be perfectly honest, if they stay with, there's a side of me that wants them to go back or make that the current uniform, like the permanent uniforms, right? The throwbacks that they have. But the logo that's on your arm there, the one that I have as a tattoo, okay, is my favorite logo.
Yeah.
And I desperately, like, I really want them to go back to that. I really want them to go back to that. I don't know, man.
I'm all for that. I just don't think that they will, because I think that and you could see it in like the build of the stadium, the logo, the dolphin. It's very like sea and water oriented and boat oriented. Even like the facade of the stadium looks almost like a cruise ship, that like gray protrusion that comes on out. I just feel like that was part of his overall vision, Ross. But I would not ever be opposed to bringing back.
Rick Spars says we need to bring back the chubby dolphin. I love it.
When we were getting W's and going to the playoffs all the time, and we were eating. Now this dolphin thinned out. We need to get that chubness back. I chub. Hey, there we go. We need to get it back. I agree.
Hey, you know what? I do have some really awesome news today to kind of announce. I don't have the thumbnail made up for it yet. But next Friday is the NFL draft, rounds 2 and 3. And we will be doing, are you ready? A mega cast for Miami Dolphins content creators. We are going to have confirmed so far. I have Dougley Durong with hopping onto his platform for 15 minutes. I have TD Phins Talk coming to hang out with us in some way, shape, or form. I have the Phins Tailgate, who, by the way, they're going to be doing a post-draft show that we're going to send everybody over to afterwards. We will have, oh my God, we got Alex Dono coming on. We got, who else do we got? We got Alex Dono. We got the Smoke Show. We got the Touchdown with Doug Smith, hopefully. We got Go Time Dolphins. We got, who else do we have? I'm going in through my messages. Miss Phins. Did I already say Miss Phins Doll Freaky and 305 Sports Babe? I got them.
You got a crew.
Yep, got a crew. I'm hoping to get a couple people on from 5 Reasons Sports. And I have confirmed Mike Ovila from Dolphins Talk, as well as Big E from Dolphins Talk.
Okay.
To hang out with us too. Kyle Krabs will not be on that Friday night with us, but he will be on that Monday, the following Monday of the draft. So that'll be good too. So to talk about the, everything from the draft. And then there's about 2 or 3 other people, some good names. So almost every single big person on YouTube. I'm reaching out to a couple more people. I'm hoping to get some other people on here, for even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes, but for the entire day or the entire evening, 7 p.m. to probably 10 or 11. It's going to be crazy. And then we'll obviously have CB83 on. We'll have Nando Talk will be here. Jason Sarney will be here. Cameron Scott will be here. I mean, we're talking like 20 to 25 Miami Dolphins content creators next Friday night. Crazy, right?
I can't wait.
Still more could sign on to come on for 15 or 20 minutes.
Keep it going. Keep it going. I love the community. I love when everybody kind of teams up and gives their opinions. The draft is one of them. It's fun to watch the mock drafts. It's fun to see the trade scenarios. And I think the more the merrier. So bring it on until the things happen. We could speculate, and that's part of the fun for me. The draft is probably what really got me fully just obsessed with the non-game aspect of football way back in the early 90s. So this is a week that I consider like a holiday week.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Man, so we got that. So be on the lookout. I'll have an official thumbnail made up hopefully by this weekend, and I'll be able to promote that on social media and tag everybody that's going to be in it. But what's absolutely amazing for that is it sounds like everybody is everybody's going to be, all coming on to one show. And then after the show, we're going to send people over to the Phins tailgate because they're going to do a post-draft show, which is great. And I'm excited about that. It's awesome. All right. Last night, just real quick before, because there's other things I want to talk about. I coached my second game last night in Little League, not T-ball, but Little League. We lost again.
Coach pitch or what was the pitch situation?
2-0. We lost. We had the bases. We had bases loaded, and a kid hit the ball to the first baseman, pop up. The only catch any kid made the entire game on either side. The runners were advancing. There was one out. He caught the ball right at first. It was an out, and then tagged first, and there was 2 outs. Made a double play off of one.
Oh, man. That's horrible.
I know.
What can you do?
But it was good, man. The kids are having fun. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun coaching the kids up. I tell people all the time, it's probably my favorite thing I've done, coaching. I love it. I love coaching. Infield fly roll. I know for the kids, right? For 6 to 8.
I was thinking that immediately. Yep.
The
dreaded infield. You never want to be the guy who hits the ball up as an adult and get infield fly. That's just embarrassing. Never happened to me.
Especially when you're dealing with 6 to 8 year olds, right? Anyways. So that happened last night, and then I watched NBA playoffs and NHL hockey last night. Look, you're from PA, you and that New York area, Devils,
Northeast.
Yes, Devils and the Rangers are playing each other, dude. That's kind of big, right?
Yeah, Northeast, the New York, Long Island, Jersey loves those teams. Jersey. I know a lot of die-hard Devil fans. You know what I mean? Like die-hard Devil fans. And I know Ranger fans, but I think that the Devils base, they're a little rowdy, So I used to be an Islander fan. I'm just not a hockey guy anymore, but I lived about 12 minutes from the old Nassau Coliseum. And that was me and my buddies, we would go to like the cheapest seats, like the obstructed view and like section like 312 or whatever. Be watching games like this because they were like $8 tickets on like a Thursday night.
Oh my
God. And
then,
get picked up at 11 o'clock after we would hang by the hotel, wait for autographs or whatever, but not really a hot guy anymore. But I do know that those Devil fans are.
Eli Manning was at the game there last night. Eli Manning was there. Didn't realize he had so many kids. He had like 5 kids with him. I was like, does he have 5 children? Now I don't know if they were all kids, but
cool dude.
So the other thing that happened last night is basketball happened. A couple series went down. I was really upset with the NBA for putting the Sacramento Kings Warriors game at the same time as the Phoenix Suns and Clippers game. Like they spaced it out by 30 minutes. That was it. Like, I don't understand. Like, you can schedule it. You have multiple channels. Schedule it at different times. At minimum, do halves. At minimum, do a half. Start one game at 6 or one game at 7, one game at 8, one game at 9. Right? And then you get a half of all the games. At minimum. But to start them pretty much at the same time, what are y'all doing? Stupid. Now it's tough because the West Coast games, right?
Watching.
Well, I get that. And here's the other thing too. Like any sporting event that's on the West Coast, it's tough because they can only start. I mean, the earliest they can probably start is what, 7 o'clock. On their time.
On their time,
makes it what 10 o'clock our time. So if we want them to start at 9 Eastern Standard Time, they got to start at 6. So I don't know. I'm not a big. I hate the West Coast, and it's so funny because West Coast people who watch football are like, oh, I get to wake up and watch football all day and then still have an evening to go out and do stuff. Meanwhile, we wait till noon, we wait till 1 o'clock, have 1 to 4, and that's how it's always been. I could not imagine moving to the West Coast, and it would throw my entire Sunday off forever.
I agree. I like the way it's structured. I can see if you're an early riser out west and you just want to start your day with some football, fine. But I don't know. No.
I'm so used to 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games.
Yeah. I like that structure.
I don't know how I would ever do 10 a.m. games. Couldn't do it. But it's funny because West Coast people are like, I love it. It's great. It's absolutely amazing.
I like my pregame ritual on Sunday. You got to do your fantasy lineups. You got to spread your fun stuff across football, and then you got to do your Dolphins stuff, whatever it is that you're doing. So yeah, I need a couple hours.
Amika says, when my sister lived in Hawaii, she had to wake up at 6 a.m. to watch games.
Well, then again, she lives in Hawaii, so she's fine.
Yeah, we're not. She gets to live in Hawaii, cuz.
Right. I'll wake up at 3 a.m. If someone says you guys can move to Hawaii, but your football is thrown off, so be it. I don't care. That's good.
Come on now.
I'll deal with that.
All right. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. So yesterday, Tom Brady was doing a mini conference. He was a guest at a mini
business conference.
It was
whatever.
A business conference or mini conference down in South Florida. And I'm not going to say I don't know who the person is, but it's somebody who doesn't watch football that much and probably is like, well, we're a Miami-based conference and he lives in Miami, so I'll just ask the question, at least one football question. And what does he ask? He asks, what are the odds of you coming out of retirement to play for the Dolphins? And so, for lack of a better term, dumbass Brady, doesn't say no. And so the internet runs rampant yesterday. And I'm like, y'all, he is straight trolling us. That's all he's doing. He said he didn't answer the question. One, he never answered the question. He said his answer was something to the effect of, hey, man, I have friends that are on the Miami Dolphins, and I will root for them. And I have some really good friends on the Miami Dolphins. That's all he said. But the internet took it and ran with it yesterday, Jason. And it was like, are y'all kidding me? Really? This is what we're going to do? This is what we have come to? But the reality of the situation is, he didn't say no. That's fair. It's a fact. He didn't say no. But I think he's trolling us.
He's trolling.
And he's having fun with us.
Of course.
Is that your take? What are your take on it?
All right, here's my take. My take is that, yeah, you're right. He's trolling. He's having fun. Number one, football players, someone like Brady, he's got friends on like 25 teams. Yeah, he's got a lot of friends all over the place with how players are scattered and relationships built. So, yeah, I get Wes Welker's a coach with the Dolphins. That's a rather good friend. I get it. But, he's having fun. He's retired. I don't want to go into the break the emergency glass scenario in a God forbid, because I don't want to put that out in the universe. So I would call it a 0.05% chance.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
No, I'm not going to
Jason. I said
like this. I'm not going to go. It's definitely 100% not going to happen. I'm not going to go to that extreme because
there is a quote unquote, and for lack of a better term again, perfect scenario where Tom Brady does come back and play does come back and he plays for the Dolphins. But the following would have to happen, or something to the effect of the following would have to happen. A disaster
would have to happen.
Tua gets hurt for the rest of the year and has a season-ending injury. Mike White obviously isn't able, and it would have to happen in the first quarter of the season or second quarter of the season.
Right.
You're talking about everything the dominoes would have to fall in so much order that, because it couldn't happen at the end of the year. And
I just
they had a winning record. If they had a winning record at the end of the year and were deep, and then all of a sudden Tua got hurt, and by the way, we're just talking like there had to be a perfect domino effect of things to happen.
It would be like a domino seismic effect and a bad thing. It would have to just be like you know that scene in like the Big Short when they're doing the Jenga thing, like all right, injury, boom.
One of my favorite movies. I love that movie.
Oh, I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies.
He's like triple B's crap, triple A's crap,
double crap, triple crap, crap on top of crap,
crap on top of crap.
I don't want to.
Ryan Gosling kills in that movie.
Great movie, great job by a lot of people in that movie.
That's one of those movies that if it's on at any point in time on TV,
you watch it.
Don't care where it's at in the movie. Watching it.
If you're a Succession fan,
I've never got into that. Never got into
Kendall, the actor. I think his name is Jeremy Strong or whatever. I think, but the actor who plays Kendall has like a bit part in The Big Short. He's one of the investment bankers who worked with Steve Carell's character. He killed it. Great little minor,
He was the one that was always paranoid or was always thinking everything was coming to an end.
Yeah, he sniffed it out. He knew that something was happening. He was always on the phone. He was always
he's a good guy. Dude, I've never got into Succession. I want to though.
Do it. It's a quick watch. It's 3.5 seasons right now, and you're caught up. It's only going 4 seasons, but this is going back to the draft. This is definitely the most exciting time that I think we're going into a draft, and I'm really excited. I'm just really excited.
Me too. I am. Everyone knows Steven's favorite movie is The Notebook. Shh! Don't tell nobody, noob. Real talk. I've never seen it.
Well, let's close the Brady thing out real quick. Let me just close the Brady thing out real quick, if you don't mind. But
yeah. And by the way, I brought it up because Twitter ran with it yesterday.
It's news. It's something. It's something to talk about.
And he does live in Florida. He does.
A lot of people live in Miami. A lot of people live in South Florida. A lot of people are from that area because it just happens to be a place where a lot of football players play year-round football in gorgeous weather. When you see a veteran in Miami in the winter, it's not because they're talking to the Dolphins. It's because they're vacationing in Miami in the winter a lot of times. But Brady lives there. There's a chance maybe ownership down the line, but I just don't see him putting a helmet on with the Dolphin logo. I just don't see it.
Well, I don't either, and that's to be fair. And my hope is that we don't have to, because everything went so right for us, and we won the Super Bowl with Tua Tagovailoa, and all is right.
God willing.
Yep. You brought it up because it's a hot topic, Buzz. Any good radio host would do the same. I mean, look, it's funny because Jason and I talked about it this morning. We're like, do we discuss it? And Jason,
you can say it.
That you absolutely despise the Tom Brady talk.
I think
rightfully so, because look, the saga of Brett Favre was the worst for like 4 years.
Exactly. It was horrible. It was
the worst. Every offseason we were like, all right, let's just have the conversation. It was like a yearly topic for 4 years in every offseason. Favre going to come back. Favre going to come back. Is Favre going to come back? And essentially Brady can do the same thing, because the reality is Brady's last year was not a bad year. He threw for over 4,000 or almost 5,000 yards. He was top 5 in the league in passing yards. He was top 5 in the league in touchdowns. He was still at the top of his game, quote unquote, when he left. So even though for him, he was not anywhere near what he used to play like, right? And that goes to the Jordan thing. When Jordan played for the Wizards, he was still averaging like 18, 19 points a night, which
that's not Jordan. Yeah.
It was better than 2/3 of the league at the time, but it was Jordan, right? And so, there's always that talk of, hey, look, as long, and I'll be honest with you, I think Dolphins and Tom Brady will be linked for the next couple of off seasons. Like, it will be a ritual talk because he lives down in South Florida. The Dolphins tried to get him at one point. He is retired, but he still played at the top of his game. And now he's single, like personal life. He's single. He doesn't have anything, like he can play. Like there's nothing holding him to it. So I understand your the despise of it for what it is, because he's Brady and we absolutely hate Brady, right? As Dolphins fans. And because as people in media, we're like, I don't want to do this for the next 4 years.
It's a conundrum.
It's
a conundrum. It's a double-edged sword, a catch-22, a catch-12 to joke around. It's just, and you know what? Yeah, I see someone in the chat. Yeah, Bob Greasy is 12. A Super Bowl winning perfect quarterback 2 times over in winning Super Bowls and a Hall of Famer. You don't even broach the subject. Before Tua was drafted, right when Tua was drafted, and Marino's going to give him 13, that ticked me off more than anything. Like, retrospectively, come on. What are we talking about here? But
so NASCAR, and I know it's totally different. They let all number 3s back, and Dale Earnhardt died.
Different story. I think that's a completely different sports story. Multiple cars, not. I don't know. I don't know NASCAR, and I know you love NASCAR. That's like your bread and butter. Too.
I'll be watching some NASCAR this week, and they're at Talladega, baby. Let's go.
Exactly right. I know Talladega is, but I don't know.
Talladega.
I think numbers in football are really sacred, and I'm going to tell you, like, I've seen players interact with each other. Hey, 9, what up, 81? Like, it's sacred. Like, they love their numbers. Sometimes they change it, sure, because whatever reasons, but numbers are good.
But let's kind of stay on this topic. This is a good conversation. New York Yankees. So they have this new guy named Volpe, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's wearing number 11 or 12. He's wearing number 11, I think, because 1 through 10 is retired. Numbers 1 through 10 for the Yankees are retired. And then you got to think to yourself, there's other numbers that are retired for the Yankees, not just the first 10. And eventually you are going to run out of numbers, as like the Yankees are the extreme case scenario, right? Because they're probably if I had to venture to guess, they're probably the organization in professional sports that has retired the most numbers in sports.
And the Celtics and the Canadians, I would.
Well, the Celtics probably too. I didn't even think about that.
Celtics
nobody's won 33.
But here's the situation too, and which is weird when you think of numbers. Basketball, you got 15 players on a roster at any given time, right?
Yeah.
Football, you got 53, more with practice squad, much more. And then baseball, you got 27 in a dugout before you charge
27 now. Used to only be 25, but yeah.
Right. But, so the number thing is weird. I mean, when you look at a team like the Miami Dolphins, they only got 3 retired. They're going to bring 2 more in because if you've noticed, it's Greasy, it's Zonka, it's Marino.
All right.
That's it. Now,
I would like to think that Jason Taylor and Zach
you're going to
Thomas
see.
numbers.
I mean, look, I can't guarantee that, but an equipment manager is not handing anybody those numbers. I mean, you haven't seen those numbers been handed out. You know what I mean? 99 and 54 have not been given. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't believe anybody has worn. Guys, in the chat, has anybody else worn number 99 or 54 post Jason Taylor or post Zach Thomas? I
do not believe so. At the moment, there is not a 99 or a 54.
NASCAR is different.
No, there's not.
Just Racing owns the right to a number for a long time. He wouldn't touch that number.
But
he had to. He ended up touching it.
No Dolphin. I mean, I'm 100% sure no Dolphin post Taylor and
I think that's a very educated guess, and I agree with you.
And what I would like a number of things to happen with Miami Dolphin legends, retired players across a lot of different scopes. I guess the 3 main things that I would love to see. I mean, everyone wants to see Richmond in the Hall of Fame. That's a given. Everyone wants to see Mark Clayton in the Hall of Fame. Everyone wants to see that. But what I want to see is the ceremony individual, because it's not going to be double. It'll be an individual Zach Thomas celebration of the retirement, an individual Jason Taylor celebration of the retirement. And I will say this until someone I don't care how much I'm going to have to say it. I'll say this every week until it happens. OJ McDuffie needs to be on the honor roll.
Yeah, OJ McDuffie should be on the honor roll, no doubt.
And Cameron
Wake should be too.
I'm sorry?
Cameron Wake should be too.
Cameron Wake, and you should also consider Ricky Williams. But the honor roll is a really prestigious situation, and I think OJ needs to have that ceremony. But
OJ's number is not going to get retired, right?
Oh no, the number's not going to get retired, but that's different.
So that's different. So my question is, here's something for you. Peyton Manning's son, or nephew, Archie. Let's say Archie becomes the quarterback that everybody thinks he's going to be, and then gets drafted by the Colts. Is he allowed to wear his uncle's number?
That's a family thing, and that's a family thing. I mean, I can't jump into that family. Is it? Ooh, I mean, that's a great debate, and it's a great direct question to ask the Mannings. Yeah. But I think that would be pretty cool. Like, I remember a couple of people on Twitter joking around, and I would endorse these tweets. The only person who could wear number 13 again is Marino's grandson or something like that. I'm like, you know
Marino,
what?
A descendant of Marino could wear.
Correct. Like if that's your name, Arch, it's Arch. But Archie, his real name could be Arch, whatever. Steven's right, it's Arch, but whatever.
Archie is his grandfather. Oh, please. Call him Archie Manning. Anyways,
Arch
go
Manning,
ahead.
Whatever. I think that would be pretty cool. I like the Manning family from the lore of them. You know, I think that would be a rather cool thing.
So if it's if it's a descendant of a player, no problem. Okay. Now what happens when you get into the mode like the Yankees? You're eventually not going to have enough numbers to reach. You got to stop somewhere. You can't have them all.
You're going to be having 97, 98s, 93s in baseball, and that's going to look really, really odd.
Aaron Judge is 99.
That's a cool number, though. I mean, Jason Taylor. I mean, when I think 99, it's Jason Taylor.
So, stupid question, but I feel the need to ask it since we're on the topic.
Uh-oh.
Will there ever be 3-digit jerseys?
No, I hope not. That's the no.
Phins up Lindsay from New Zealand. He's back. New Zealand is in the house.
And like, correct me if I'm wrong. And any basketball historians, I really would love.
They did approve 00 this year. That is true, Manalo. They did approve 00 this year.
Yeah, I mean, you could add a 0, a 00, but no 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember way back in life, you know, playing basketball and referees and speaking to some referee, whatever. When basketball was giving out numbers, they didn't really go above 5. So, because when there was a foul, it would be a foul 1, 5, foul 2, 3. And like that was an initial, like, I mean, if you go back into basketball numbers, you weren't seeing 68s. You weren't seeing 91s. You know, I think that came a little later. Not confirming, but I almost remember that being the case. Single-digit numbers on each side of the equation if they were double digits.
They approved 0, not 00. You are correct. They approved 0 in the NFL, and I think they approved 00 in the NBA.
NBA, right? Yeah.
They approved 00 in the NBA.
See, 0 is cool in football.
Yes.
I think a pass rusher at 0 is well, pardon my French. I was going to say intimidating. I was going to say effing intimidating. Wow, you see that?
Oh my God.
Woo.
You in the square jar today. How dare you, Jason?
That was bad. It reminds me of talking Jason Taylor. You know, when Jason Taylor used to do the circle on the, like, you know, the punch through or something. Remember, he used to just that was one of his celebrations or whatever.
Whoa, that's what
my bad. I'm talking Sackmaster Jason Taylor Hall of Famer and retiring numbers here. I'm fired up, Steven.
Noob says, I don't know. I know they don't retire a bunch of numbers, but but how have we not retired 99 and 54?
You know what? I truly think it's almost like, I mean, look, let's have some fun and talk a little bit here about what this year is. This year is a hype year following what will be the induction of Zach Thomas. So there's momentum, right? He gets inducted in August. Season starts September. You know what I would love to see during either a Bills, Patriots, or Jets home game? That type of ceremony, retiring Zach's number.
On his own game, not having a dual enshrinement for him and Jason.
It would not be dual. Let's just put it that way. It will not be dual. Because the Dolphins have done some terrific marketing with dual situations, but this is an individualistic thing. This is an individual, his night and his night. Same thing where there's got to be a Duper talk and a Clayton talk. It can't be lumped all the time, you know? But I really, truly think that if you want to have some really fun with it, you do Zach Thomas during a Patriot game, because that was his first game where he knocked out Sean Jefferson. And we all were like, everybody answers that question if you ask a former Dolphin. When did you know? First game, knocked out Sean Jefferson. Just knew it. That was when they knew they had something special. And then you do Jason Taylor to get back to the whole Jet situation during a Jet game.
I mean, no doubt. But to be fair, we screwed our own. Like, he did that because he hated the
Bill Parcells. That
Bill
whole
Parcells.
Jason Taylor Jet thing was Bill
That was
Parcells.
a big middle finger to the organization at the time.
It was to Bill Parcells. It wasn't the organization. It was Bill.
It was
Parcells.
who was running the organization.
Exactly.
And he was like, I'll show you.
Parcells.
And it was so weird to see him in a Washington Redskins uniform.
He changed his number to 55.
So weird.
He wore 55.
I don't
his high
like
school number and college number, I believe.
I never liked it. The question is, will Miami ever be retiring the number 1 Uno?
Wow.
Lewis, thank you.
There.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Lewis.
Well,
thank you, Lewis, for going there.
I'm not touching that question. Not going there.
Taylor and Thomas are all-time greats on this team, and they're in a handful. They're in a handful of names mentioned when they're talking Dolphins. Embarrassing, they're not retired. I concur with you.
I hear what you're saying.
Jason Taylor should be.
They're semi-retired already. I mean, this is what I'm trying to say. It's like when they're not being handed out, like they're not being given to people, you know? So it's gonna happen, I think. I just can't guarantee when. It has to happen. They're not being given out. Richmond Webb told a story that he didn't get when he played for Cincinnati for that 1 year. It was Anthony Munoz's number. There was a situation where he couldn't have his number because it was Anthony Munoz's number. Richmond Webb wasn't getting that number.
We don't retire punter numbers, Lewis. God. Oh, the hate is real. The hate is real.
And I will not tolerate Matt Turk slander on this show.
Okay. None. No Matt Turk slander. All right. Miami Sports Music's number 1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Topic of the day. Let's get into it. The Miami Dolphins must select blank to make the 2023 NFL Draft a successful one. Who and what names? And I want you in the chat and you to come up here. I'm going to drop the link in a little while. We're going to have a conversation first. But I'm interested to know who Dolphins fans, as well as you, Jason, and myself, who Dolphins fans have, like, and if they don't pick up this person, it's almost a failure of the draft itself. Is there, and I'd like 2 or 3 people from you.
I at least I could do that. Now, the part of the draft that I love is not, I mean, I do have 1 or 2 players that I would absolutely do a backflip of, but I would be very, very fine and tolerate a number at a few different positions. The tight end position has been definitely the position of conversation since that press conference. You saw GM Chris Greer, assistant GM Marvin Allen, really kind of, that was a funny moment. You see that press conference, Steve?
We watched it live on here on the channel.
And cool. I didn't see you guys do that, but it was funny to me that Marvin Allen was talking about the depth of the tight end class, and then you saw Chris Greer's head, like, kind of like, if I had a protractor, there was definitely movement, and I would be very curious to see the footsies under the table.
Like, shut the hell up! Stop kicking out all our stuff. Yeah,
but I see tight end. Now here's the fun thing. Like, I would love 3 or 4 names at 51 if they are there, whether a tight end position or whether it's said in, the chat, like Noob said, a Jack Campbell. I believe Campbell will probably be picked like 47 with Dolphin luck, 49, like right before us. So
yeah,
if I'm
the
looking
Dolphins at 47 or 49 could trade up to go get him.
they could. I don't know that trading up is prudent with the lack of the assets that they have, unless they're moving some player on their roster that they don't need. But I don't think the value is there to get up into the first round or really above. If a guy like Campbell, if their top 3 or 4 tight ends are taken already at 51, I would love to see them move back a dozen spots, pick up maybe another 4th selection or whatever. And then maybe you're targeting a tight end like a Tucker Kraft, maybe a guy like a Laporta if he's still there. I love Matthew Bergeron, as we've said.
Don't pick my guy. That was going to be my guy.
I'm sorry. I love that guy. He could play 4 spots on the offensive line. They're saying he could play left guard or right guard. He could play tackle.
Where do you think he ends up? Where does Bergeron end up in the draft?
Let me just look at the draft order. I think the sweet spot for him, I mean, look, if we draft him with our first overall selection at 51, I kind of think that's like early, and he won't get like the Dolphins won't get A value. Maybe it's like a B- value. You know, I've been seeing him picked in the 70s, 80s in mock draft.
I understand, so the question, I guess the question that should be asked is if you love a player, right? Like,
you gotta take it.
Look, I hate that I'm bringing this up as an example because I can't stand this player. But somebody in the Dolphins organization loved Noah, and they felt that it was prudent to jump up in the draft to take him. And you're either going to get a hit or a miss, and that one was a big whiff.
Now, the problem with that one was, and you know that I've said like best player available of need. The Noah pick was not of need at all. I mean, even if he was the best
player that they loved and they felt valued, that nobody on their draft board had Noah in the first round.
I scratched my head on that
draft, right?
I scratched my head.
But I felt at the time, I was like, man, if they're in love with this guy, who am I to be mad at it, right? And so, you know, we as fans are always like, if you love a player, we always talk about, all right, we're sitting here talking about we're at 51, we should trade back, right? But if there's 3 or 4 players that they love, why not go get the guy that you love?
Well, because if there's 3 or 4 players that you love, I mean, look, it's a tough game. This draft stuff. It's probably during the draft. It was said to me once that this draft board is a living, breathing organism that changes each and every pick. So we can do all the speculation, and then the draft day happens, you know, where things are happening unforeseen, and then people are scrambling and reacting to what's happening. So if you're sitting at 51, and let's say, for example, let's look at the tight end position. You got a guy like a Musgrave, Mayer, Dalton, Kincaid, Darrell Washington. These are all guys that could fall before the Dolphins.
Correct.
But if for whatever reason, 3 of those guys are out of the first round and tight ends aren't going early because this is such a deep class, the Dolphins might think, all right, I'm sitting here at 51. 4 of my top 6 tight ends are around. 2 of my linebackers, 3 of my linemen. I can move back 12 picks, 15 picks. Who's calling? You know what I mean? So a lot of things can happen once these picks start rolling off the board.
All right, so let me pause you. So on your draft board, in your war room, you have players that you love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's probably even an upper echelon of tier players of like, it does not matter if they are available. It's not even a question. You go get them. Okay. So let's say there's 3 players on this board.
Okay.
In this draft. All right. We'll just say 3. Maybe Bergeron's one of them, right? Maybe, you know, Strange is one of them, right? Or because I really think they like the Penn State tight end. I really do.
It's too early for where I've seen it, but I do know that they like him.
They like him a lot from everything that I have read, right?
There'll be riots if it's the second round.
Huh?
There'll be riots if it's in the second round.
I understand that.
Second round tight end from Penn State after getting rid of Gesicki? Okay. That sounds too familiar.
Jason, I have been saying for the last few weeks, the Dolphins' first pick should not be a tight end because there's guys that they love that are valued at 3rd and 4th or 5th round picks that they love. Not even like. Greer and McDaniel both went to their pro day and were, for all intents and purposes, everything that I have heard, raving about the guy.
If it's one of those day 3 pick, as Walt Dog literally just said, if it's a day 3 pick, it's like one of those theft picks,
Okay.
But to get to your, go ahead, keep on going with your question. I like where you're going.
So they have that guy in mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, if let's say Bergeron's available in the second, right, or the third, and they love him. He's one of those 3 players where they're like, if Bergeron's available within 5, and maybe they have a rule, if he's available within 5 picks ahead in front of us, we go get him. Maybe there's 3 players that they do that to, right? Or an opportunity presents itself from like the Noah pick, where they're like, we're just going to get in and go get this guy now so that nobody steals him in front of us. Now, Noah failed, but the theory itself, I think, is a good one that as long as you hit on most of them, you should be fine. And that is, if you love a player, don't wait and just go after him if you can, because I think that the teams will regret it down the road by not going to get them. And Bergeron, everybody that I have talked to in the YouTube community want to go after an offensive lineman. We don't think that they will.
The reason why I think Bergeron is a guy that a lot of teams covet is the fact of the flexibility that he could play the interior in either guard slot, because he's an elite run blocker. Like, we're talking like potentially elite run blocker, not just at the point of contact at the line of scrimmage, but they say he could be one of the guys that finishes the block, and then all of a sudden you're seeing him run down the lane helping out with blocking linebackers. You know what I mean? So this guy is a terrific ready-made prospect. So if Jack Campbell is gone, if Darnell Washington is gone, I think that would mean if Darnell Washington is gone, your top 3 tight ends are gone. So I think that Bergeron might be the guy over a Laporta or a Tucker Kraft or Strange or a Schoonmaker or there's other tight ends out there that, could be in that 3rd, 4th, 5th round range. But I think that a Bergeron is, I hate using this term because we've used it before, but he's almost like a unicorn offensive lineman who is a very special player, potentially. Very, very special player. Leadership, football intelligence, could play in a pinch if a veteran tackle is hurt, and also could make a left guard and a right tackle be put really on notice. I could talk more about Bergeron, Steven, if you let me go. If Steven, you're not coming back on, Bergeron's also a guy. Best there he is. Well over 600 snaps last year. 3 penalties called against him all year. 5 sacks allowed. All ACC kind of player.
Phins Up Wednesday says, you're in Miami and not donating. I've been watching. I'm getting my paper up for the team. Let's go. $10 donation. $10 donation. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Cruz Ruiz, Bergeron at left guard or right tackle. I put out on Dolphin Wire my player prospect profile of him. And listen, if you draft him, he played right tackle and left tackle at Syracuse. Was really good helping Sean Tucker, their running back. So you draft him and you put him as just OL. That's what you tag him if you're rostering him. He's an offensive lineman. You send him into camp and you insert him at left guard on team 2. And then you really give Liam that push. Because I do tend to trust Greer. When he says that Austin Jackson is the starter, I don't like it. But I think that they may bring in competition like a Bergeron, who could also compete for right tackle. If one of those guys, Liam or Austin, takes a 180 and becomes terrific, the person who doesn't, then you throw in Matt. That's how I
look, I think that, for the Dolphins to have a successful draft, what I want and what you want might be totally 2 different things. Man, Phins Up Wednesday with another $10 donation. I appreciate it, man. Phins Up Wednesday just donating out here. I appreciate it, buddy. I don't know what
Thank you.
the conversion rate is from New Zealand, whatever their currency is to American dollars, but it doesn't matter, man. I appreciate it, brother.
I gotta also watch some rugby. Every time I see rugby on social media, I watch that stuff. That is really fun stuff to watch, by the way.
I appreciate it, Phins up, Lindsay. I love that somebody in New Zealand is watching the show. That's so dope.
What day is it there? It's like Saturday.
It always makes my day when that happens.
Appreciate you.
I think that for the Dolphins, we want the Dolphins to draft an O lineman. But the reality of the situation is we need to look at what the GM has told us. And that is that Austin Jackson is probably going to be the starting right tackle for the Miami Dolphins. And that they probably don't necessarily value, for whatever the reason is, the offensive line the way that we do, in the sense of, man, we should probably spend a second-round pick on it. We should probably spend a third-round pick on it. And I think that's what's frustrating for Dolphins fans. And I'm telling you, we're looking at these mock drafts. I've looked at 1 million mock drafts from totally 1 million different people. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think that the Dolphins, what these mock drafts are doing, I don't think is the direction that Dolphins are going to go in, with the exception of,
I mean, when we look at the mock drafts, I love looking at mock drafts because sometimes I kind of smirk and smile and say, like, this is so not Greer. Like, it looks great. We would love it.
Do you know how many mock drafts I've looked at and I'm like, oh my God, if we did that, that would be amazing. And then my second thought is exactly that.
Never happened.
Greer's not going to do this. There's no way Greer's going to do this.
I mean,
and I'm not saying that Greer's right or wrong. I'm just telling you what we want, and what Greer does, in my opinion, is going to be totally two different things.
He's very honest. I mean, he's very forthright.
I don't think it's out of the question to think that if the Dolphins love some player, that they will trade up. And that's why I'm almost convinced we don't pick at 51. Now, whether we trade up or trade back, I just think we're going to do one of the two. I don't think we sit there at 51.
I got to tell you, my dream is this.
Another $10 donation.
My dream is this. And this can get tricky, but I like the 51 slot a lot.
I don't.
No, hear me out. If that's our second pick, I look at the 84 pick. And that's what I want to move to, like, pick 40, 45. So we're getting our top two. You know what I'm saying? If there's a way to move a player who we might not necessarily need to a team who could use them better, I think that could be the chip to move up 20 picks plus the player, maybe a 20, 24. But you could save $10 million on the same position player if you're drafting a linebacker or if you're drafting an upgraded the line offensively. I think you trade 84 over the 51 and then you position yourself with having two top 51 picks if you can. That's my dream, but it's going to be a tall order.
A lot of things would have to happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, and part of that is Cedric Wilson's probably gone, and Noah Igbenogany's probably gone.
Well, that's very minimal. That's we're talking conditional 7th round 2024-25 pick. If that's
but
the value,
I think he gets thrown into a trade.
Right. I mean, I'm not even thinking that. I'm thinking guys like a Cedric Wilson. I'm thinking guys like a potentially Jerome Baker. And those are the two guys.
Yeah, so I've heard this theory about Baker getting traded. I don't see it. I don't
see it, but if I'm looking at the business, if I'm looking at the business end of it,
if Fangio likes him, he's not getting him. He's not getting
a lot of options.
And just looking at the linebacker room, I just don't see Baker leaving. Just my opinion. Baker provides depth. He's got a lot of talent, and I think he can fit into almost any scheme that is provided by Vic Fangio. Good, bad, or indifferent, right? And so, I mean, here's the thing. I've had people look at mock drafts, and this is where I think anybody who does mock drafts and has defensive players as the first couple of picks for the Dolphins, that's an interesting theory. Because what if Fangio is in the war room pounding on the table saying, we need to get a middle linebacker like Jack Campbell, or we need to get
That's my point.
we need to get a defensive tackle behind, to play alongside with Wilkins and Seiler, and make sure that there's somebody there that, of their caliber. If the Dolphins at 51 got one of the best defensive tackles on the board, would you be mad?
I'd be, that's a good, what emotion would I be? I'd be a little surprised. If it's a great player, it would tell you that extension for Christian Wilkins might be a little less obvious, because if they're drafting a top 51 player in this draft and an interior defensive lineman, you're saying goodbye to one of Wilkins or Seiler. So that would make me, I guess the emotion would be upset. I would be upset. There's my answer. I would be upset.
But I've seen people say that the Dolphins are going to look for depth at that position because
in the later portion, sure. But if it's the top pick, if it's the pick that they need to insert into a lineup right now, I'd be upset with that.
What is your thoughts about trading for a position of need, trading for a player of depth with the BPA, best player available, right? So if the best player available is a defensive tackle at 51, and let's just say, for example, he's the best defensive tackle on the board. The best defensive tackle slipped all the way to 51. I mean, that's probably not going to happen, but let's say it does. Dolphins would kind of be stupid not to draft that person, in my opinion. Now, do I want them to draft that? No. But even if it's a top 2 defensive tackle in the draft is there at 51, I mean, I got to scratch my head and say, man, I know I need an offensive lineman. Now, if Bergeron's there, I want Bergeron all day, right? But if let's say he's gone, the couple people we really like are gone. The way I've looked at it, as the 2 people that will be available at 51, which again I think we're not staying at, are going to be 2 centers, and I can't think of their names off the top of my head, but there's probably going to be like 2 centers. But the Dolphins, quote unquote, don't need a center according to most of the fan base, because we have Connor Williams. Although a center can play guard or center, so in my opinion, you draft him. And if you put him at guard, fine, so be it. But if something happens to Connor, you have your other center that can play and plug in and play. So I think that you do draft him. But again, I don't think that they're going to draft a offensive lineman with that first pick. And I don't think they're going to draft a tight end with that first pick. So that only leaves pretty much the defensive side with that first pick. And so then you go and you start looking at it and you say, well, what can they do? Well, I mean, hey, look, they can go, linebacker. That's ultimately the biggest position of need on the defensive side. You can get more depth at the secondary, but are you getting rid of Noah Igbenogany because he's a liability, number one, and you draft somebody else at a high round draft pick with him? What's the point, right? So then you go back in and you say, okay, well, let me do this. Let me, defensive tackles there. I got the best player on the NFL draft board available, or the top 2. So I can get a top player at a position in the draft in the second round. I think you have to do it. I think you have to make that pick.
I mean, the only player in this draft in that regard, Jalen Carter is not going to drop to the second round. He's a game-changing player. But again, it goes to that best player of need. In a perfect world, and it's very viable, Christian Wilkins and Zach Seiler can both be locked up, because you look at 2025, 2026, they got like 8 players contracted. There's a ton of money, but they have to actually start locking players up for those years and extending them and saving money now and next year, because next year is a bit red. They're in the red next year. Yeah. But they got to take care of that situation. So this draft, let's just go back a couple of questions where you said like the top 3 or the top 5 on a board.
Yeah.
My particular board that I'm hoping for, if Jack Campbell is available straight up at 51, you run the ticket up. You run the ticket.
You don't even hesitate, and you run
the ticket up. Now, Jack Campbell, if we're keeping Jack Campbell, let's say that he gets taken at 46, 41, whatever it is. And then we hear on Saturday or on Wednesday of the week, Miami was trying to call like madmen to try to accumulate a deal to draft Campbell. They missed out. They ended up doing whatever. We hear it almost every year. It was the Javonte Williams situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Najee Harris, everyone, they were calling up. Whatever.
So,
if they have Campbell available, you run it up. If he's gone, I think you're looking at either your Bergeron or your top tight ends on their board, whether it's Washington. That's my opinion.
They're not going after tight end, Jay. I would
love for them to get
not at the first pick. To me, I'll be honest with you. Let's say, all right, so
linebacker and offensive line would be my first two options, and then tight end. It would be Campbell, Bergeron, Laporta, Tucker Kraft. I don't think Darnell Washington will be available. I think he'll be in the 40s.
I think you're probably right about Darnell. Now, with that being said, you and I have the same philosophy. You go offensive line with your first pick, no matter who's there. Best offensive lineman on the board. I don't care if he's a guard. I don't care if he's a tackle. I don't care if he's a center. You take the best offensive lineman available with the very first pick of the draft for you, for the Dolphins. The second pick should be, unless Jack Campbell is there.
Right.
Okay. If Jack Campbell isn't there, you don't do it. Okay. Your second pick should be linebacker. And then, and only then do you go after the tight end. And the tight end that I think you can get is, a little bit of Strange from Penn State. I pray that we actually get him because I'm going to have so much fun with his name during the year.
It's good.
I want me a little bit of Strange, baby, on the field today. Let's go.
I don't love the fact that we only have 4 picks and the back end are 6th and 7th. I really would have loved it to have been, a couple of rounds up because those 6th and 7th are very crapshoot type of picks. I don't think if there's a bet to be made or a chip for me to play, it's the Dolphins won't end up drafting exactly where they stand right now. 2nd, 3rd, 6th.
To me, you and I are on the same page there.
Yeah, something's some movement.
Forget the pick. Like I am 99. Here's how I feel about the draft period, Jason. If you give me the best odds to make any quote unquote bet for the draft for the Dolphins, it's they will not stay at 51. That is what I feel most strongly about. The second thing I feel most strongly about for the Dolphins in the draft is they don't pick a tight end with their very first pick. And then after that, it's a crapshoot because I have no idea, to be perfectly honest.
If I'm jumping into – see, this is funny because I've read and I've seen, and these are all opinions and reactions to the Marvin Allen and Chris Greer tight end talk. When Marvin Allen was saying it's a very deep class, he also said that he's going to see a number of tight ends drafted early, and then that's when Greer started to kind of wig out like a robot almost in my mind. And the way I interpret that is that, yeah, we have 3, 4, 5, 6 tight ends that we have later that we're going to maybe be fine with selecting. Maybe it's a Strange. Maybe it's a Kraft. Maybe it's a Michigan Luke Schoonmaker or something that would make Stephen Ross happy with a Michigan guy. There's a couple of others that I would be totally fine with if they end up getting some more inventory. If they do trade back the 51, and let's say they pick up, look, there's a huge gap. I believe the number is after the 84, they're at 197. That's a lot of picks, man. That's a lot of time, a lot of players.
You and I are on the same page that if the Dolphins trade back, it's in their best interest to put it in a package with a player as well and get as many draft assets as you can out of it. Okay. Or a high draft asset, whether it's multiple picks or a mid-round draft pick, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Right. So that's kind of where I want the Dolphins to go because I agree with you. I would like more than 4 picks because you have just the 4 in the 2nd and 3rd and then the 6th and 7th. I mean, come on, man. There's plenty of value in that 5th, 6th round. There's plenty of value.
There's a lot of value. And you look at some 5th round picks in Dolphin history
There's
You
been some
know,
good ones.
Rashad Jones was a Chris Greer scouted guy, wasn't a
G5,
draft
baby.
pick, right? I
G5.
mean, you look at an Andrew Van Ginkel. He's a
Yep.
5th rounder. You know what I mean? So getting back and trading a 6th and Noah Igbenogany to the Texans to move up to the 5th round, that would be a win. You know what I mean? Like something like that. But the Dolphins need to get a little bit more of they need to get somewhere in between 100 to 197. So if they're trading 51 back and still staying in the top 75, so let's say they trade back and they pick up 2 picks, which means they move back.
They canceled out the one and then gained it.
Pick up 2, because that would be the value. If like someone from 75 calls up to the Dolphins to 71, that's a top 50. That's a big time move, I think, with the drop off after your top 60, 70 players, right? So if you're a team at 75, you want to move up to 51. Dolphins move back to 75, and they pick up 2 picks, 4th and 5th rounder. That would be amazing to me, because then all of a sudden you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you're back in business. Or even if it's a third, Zach Thomas was a 5th round pick, of course. You're in that range. If you can get 2 picks in the 111, 140s, and then you're still getting 2 top 84 picks with a 75 and an 84, you then turn that into also a 111, 150, and then you have your 6th and 7th. I think you're in business. And I think there is your tight end. There is, if you don't go Dalvin Cook, your running back. Those 2 picks, if you pick up 2 other picks, you're guaranteeing yourself maybe linebacker, offensive lineman, tight end, running back.
Pete's Take says, no rookie player will start on this team. Book it. This team is already built.
60-40 in agreement, but I really can't wait to see what happens in camp if there were a couple of,
Who, be honest with yourself, and not only to Pete, this question is to anybody. Who the hell thought Cater Kahoo was going to make this team come at the beginning of training camp?
We can say that for a lot of people.
Nobody.
We can go back a number of years and say, you know what? The best scrap heap waiver addition in the NFL was Zach Sealer.
For all your donations, Phins Up Winsy. It's greatly appreciated.
Dude, we are huge in New Zealand.
Phins Up Winsy's killing the donations today, guys. I tried to do his accent over there in New Zealand, and he's very whimsical. I like that guy. That Phins Up Winsy fella. He likes his rugby. He likes the All Blacks in rugby. He's big.
Dude, again. Hey, shout out to one of the best Dolphin fans out there, Tilly. She's down in New Zealand, and there was literally a rugby highlight. You remember Major League?
Yep.
If I was a Dolphin scout and I was watching this rugby game, you know what I would say? Get him a uniform.
Get him a uniform.
Get this dude, stiff arm someone, sent him from New Zealand to Australia in a hot second. It was amazing. And this guy needs to have a helmet and pads, and then he'd be unstoppable. Steven,
you use a Boston accent for every accent. Look, man, everything's wicked hot out here. You know, up in Harvard Yard over at the Boston Park in the Quincy Market. I got to go get some Dunkin' Donuts and some New England clam chowder. You know, I hate all you Yankees, all you stupid Yankees. Let's go, you New Englanders. Stephen D's accents are going to cause an international incident.
Domestic first. It might be a domestic problem first, and then
everything's wicked hot up here in Harvard Yard over at the park. I'm going to go park the car over next to Harvard Yard. Okay. Yeah, dude. All right. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I'm going to open up the lines. And I want to hear from you.
Do I need to get my helmet on?
You should get your helmet on. And if you're like Nando, you should get your tin foil hat on.
I'm gonna have it ready.
Okay.
It's ready.
I'm gonna drop the link. You guys get up here. Who do the Dolphins need? Who should the Dolphins select in the 2023 drafts to be a successful one? You just obviously want them. I'm dropping the link right now, and I'm posting it up here. Living in Maine, you sound like all of us. Oh, over there in Maine, I like some good Maine lobster. I like a good lobster.
That's a good
lobster
endorsement.
roll, a Maine lobster roll.
Those are good.
Lobster. I love it. There's a really good commercial I saw yesterday where there's a crab holding on to a door, and he won't let go, and like the water's boiling, and it's like a voiceover of the crab. No, don't eat me. No, please stop. You guys should go check. I forget who did the commercial, but it was great. It might have been an Old Bay commercial now that I think about it, in Maryland, but it was good. All right, let's bring on the first guest because nobody else came on, and I'm going to get killed for it, and I'm sure that I will. But you know how people are. All right, Mark, go ahead.
I am going to make it super easy for you from this point forward, since the reason I listen to, Dolphin talk and Jets talk and Patriots talk is because I want to learn more things about the competition in AFC East. So to not get you in trouble, nor to cause a vote, what I just want to do is I want to wish you well and have a great weekend. Jason,
Mark,
the same.
I'm doing one at a time today. I'm doing one at a time. Now people can pay to get you off, but there will be no vote on the.
I'd like to bring in some money for the channel, Jason. I wanted to wish you a happy weekend too, and thank you for your contributions. My feeling, and if I'm gonna have a little bit of a moment to talk before I get kicked off or voted off or timed out, Steve Avila for the Dolphins at 51.
Yes, that's a name that I've been seeing in a lot of people's mock drafts. Jason,
TCU guard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, where do you think he ends up?
I think he's a Dolphin.
No, I'm saying round.
He's a round 2 guy.
You think he's a round 2 guy?
And I also like it. And Jason, you may know this guy, Ty Steen from Alabama. I think he might be a Pro Bowler.
But the question goes, I love you, Mark.
No.
Thank you.
No. He was
Trucker Sean got him off.
I'm surprised by that because, Mark, if you're listening, I actually really appreciated you coming on with the goods because I've seen some.
He's only gone for 10 minutes. He can come back.
I was enjoying that. I would have really been totally fine with Mark continuing. But you know what? This show is a fan show, Steven.
It's made for the fans by the fans.
If Trucker Sean wants to run someone off the road. Who am I?
Look at this 18-wheeler just running people off the road. By the way,
sorry, Mark.
You know how you get down the rabbit hole on like YouTube videos and TikTok videos? I've got down the rabbit hole before on like truck drivers' dashboard cams of like bad wrecks. Oh my god! I'm like, oh my god!
Bring Mark back.
Sardi's a Bills.
No, I am not a Bills fan. Let me tell you before you bring Mark
back. For shame, he said. For shame.
No.
He's convinced that I'm part of Bill's Mafia. Don't feel bad. And we know that's not true at all.
Dude, I spent 4 years in Buffalo in college. All right. And I came out the other side still orange and aqua. Trust me. Don't worry.
Jason was that guy at the old DirecTV commercial where they were in Buffalo and you saw all the old Buffalo in the snow. And then you saw the Miami Dolphins fan in the snow. Loved that.
That's exactly right. It
was one of the only good things DirecTV did back in the day.
Exactly right.
Good morning, Pete.
Good morning, Steven.
Listen,
you probably can't hear me the best.
You want to say good morning to Jason?
Good morning, Jason. I'm under medication, Steven. I'm under medication. I had some dental procedures done right here, right? But this is the cap that I want to talk about.
He's got a swollen jaw and is on the show. I gotta give you a little bit of props for that, my guy.
Thank you. It was so good this morning. I'm so happy it's all over with. But what I do want to talk about is this team of ours that we love so much, Steven.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it because some tell me, Pete, you love Skyler, blah, 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 right? But if Tua was healthy, we would have won the Super Bowl last year. That's what they tell me and argue and scream at me, Steven, that we would have won the Super Bowl last year if Tua would have stayed healthy, right? So,
we're out here talking about draft.
Yeah, so this is where I'm trying to get to.
It's like,
I'm trying to get there.
In the chat 5 minutes ago, Pete goes,
that was the equivalent of you asking me, hey, Jason, what's your favorite movie? I'm like, Outback rules. I want to eat at Outback tonight.
Oh,
Let's think of the
man.
draft. We're talking
Mike
about the
said,
draft.
here's a
We're not
Pete
talking about
cushion to
Skylar
protect
Thompson.
his take. So nobody can time him out. Nope.
Oh,
There we go,
that is
man.
awesome.
Draft.
Mike, thank you
Mike
so
saved
much.
Rashad's 10-minute timeout. So, yep, man. Wow. So
Rashad, you're late. I
now
got protection
somebody else
today.
can donate $10 or Rashad can move up to the next level.
Oh.
Man, that was quick. Mike, say, go ahead, man, before somebody else puts $10.
Thank you. So I do got to hurry up, Steven, and say it because this is what they do. They try to cancel me out and time me out. Jason, this is what I was trying to tell you guys. A rookie isn't going to move the needle for us this upcoming season. He just isn't. Where Cater Cole, who Steven, I heard that take. That happened because of injury. Because if you remember, Coach thought Byron Jones was going to be a week one start.
You are correct. It happened out of necessity. You are correct about that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If one of these rookies that we draft this year, second, third, seventh, or sixth round, we're in trouble. We're back to reality. We're in trouble.
Pete,
that's the reality of it.
Pete, let me ask you a question. All right. One thing. Number one, let me just throw this out there. You actually said in the chat 5 minutes ago, he's like, I don't understand why content creators or YouTubers don't talk about Tua more often. I cannot believe those words came out of your mouth because are you kidding me, bro? Every content creation of Miami Dolphins goes to. Are you kidding me? I was ready to lose it on you when I saw it. Now, with that being said, okay, there is value in the second or third round, Pete, and there have been starters in the NFL to show that you get in the second or third round that started week one. Now, do we, Jason and I, who talked multiple times, do we believe that there's value at offensive line probably in the second or third round that can start week one? Maybe a couple of centers and maybe a guard, but that might be it, right? But that we're just, okay, these guys could probably start day one. It's not even a huge debate. But anybody else, you're right, is a crapshoot. You can find value at starting tight ends at rounds 2 or 3, right, Jason? That can start week one in the NFL. But we don't want, I personally don't want tight end to be the first pick that we do. And Jack Campbell, who's allegedly dropping for whatever reason, if he's there at 51, he would start day one in our defense, point blank. So you can find starters, but it's a dime a dozen. And to your comment earlier, this team is stacked and has a lot of potential at a lot of different positions. So the odds are in your favor that a rookie doesn't start come week one. But don't just say for absolute that's the case, because it's not.
It is the case, Steven. It really is the case, because I feel like this team last season was Super Bowl ready. They were on the way, and a rookie isn't just going to come in and take this starting role. It's not just going to happen. We're not going to draft a running back, Steven. He's not taking up over Mostert and Jeff Wilson. We're not going to pick up that linebacker because he's not starting over David Long and Jerome Baker. That's our middle linebacker.
Jack Campbell. Jason, if we drafted Jack Campbell, would he start week one?
Not over David Long and Jerome Baker?
He would definitely start over Jerome Baker. That wouldn't even be a question.
Oh, you guys, I don't know what it is with Jerome Baker and you guys. Like, this is a Dolphin player we drafted, got an extension, has consistently led the team in tackles, and he sucks?
And did anybody say he sucked? Nobody said
a rookie's not coming in.
Pete, if you're going to argue, get some facts. Number one, he led the team in tackle 3 out of the last 4 years, right? But if you go look at the entire NFL, all the players that led their team in tackles, guess where the Dolphins were with Jerome Baker? 31, 30. They were at the bottom, 29, 30th. They were at the bottom. And by the way, it wasn't even that it was a close margin from the middle of the pack to the end. It was a wide margin. So yes, we did have the leading tackler 3 out of the last 4 years of Jerome Baker, but that wasn't saying much. He didn't set the bar or anything crazy. I like Jerome. He's a great guy, and I like him to be a depth player on our defense.
Crap on Jerome Baker. Exactly. This is sometimes looking at the business end of things, and that's all it is. There could be a player 5, 6, 7 years younger. I don't know the exact age distribution here with Campbell versus Baker here, but Baker, I believe, is entering his 6th year, which is not old, but he's on, let's just call it the back nine, the second half of the career. That would mean that he maybe has a 12-year career, which is phenomenal, right? So I think that if you got a guy like a Jack Campbell who comes on into camp and has the potential to take a job, that's what I'm trying to say. This is the kind of player that has the potential to take a job. And that's what you're looking for when you're drafting someone at 51. Last year, Channing Tindall was a third rounder. I mean, it's a developmental-ish slot. But second rounder, top 51 pick, you got to play that person.
Hey, man, Ian Rappaport reporting breaking news.
Breaking news.
5 players in the NFL have been suspended for gambling. Lions have 3 of them.
Tua rubs me as a gambler.
Oh,
go ahead, Steve.
Pete, the nitrous is still, is the nitrous oxide still from the dental appointment going? I want Mark back. I want Mark back.
Hey,
hey, I'm gonna let somebody else up. I appreciate you, man.
I love you, bro.
Thank you.
Be good, man.
Have a good day, guys.
Swabs out, Pete. You look like the Godfather. I love you, brother.
Dude, his jaw does look jacked up for real. Update: Lions wide receiver Jameis Williams in their 2022 first-round pick, who was their 2022 first-round pick, has been suspended by the NFL for 5 games for gambling. And the Lions safety C.J. Moore and wide receiver Quentin Cephas were suspended indefinitely.
And that news is brought to you by FanDuel.
Man. Oh, snap. This is what the NFL had to have been scared of when they started allowing gambling, like allowing DraftKings and FanDuels, right? Like they had to be scared about this stuff. The Commanders, Shaka, Tony are suspended indefinitely, at least 1 year. And
the Commanders involved. Shock.
Detroit, Stanley, Berryhill are suspended 6 games. So the Lions had 4 players and the Commanders had 1. And 3, and if I'm correct, 2 of them are suspended for the year. And 2 of them are suspended for 6 games that include no, 3 are suspended for the year.
Jeez.
And then 2 are suspended for 6 games.
Oh boy.
All 6 games. Man.
That's not good.
No, it's not. And by the way, just it's we knew it was we had an idea that this was part of coming. And I got somebody in the back room I'm going to bring on back here real quick, but I just want to have this quick back and forth with you. Can the NFL do anything to make sure that this doesn't stop? Like DraftKings and FanDuel change.
You want to know something really funny? A couple of years ago, just in this whole social media writing world we're in, I stayed away from like a lot of gambling content at one point. You know, like 4 years ago, I was like, that was my role at one entity. I was like the prop guy, you know, I was the gambling guy, whatever. And then I was told, you know, just go away from that. And it might not be the best thing NFL wise, you know? And then a year later, all the gambling starts coming in and I still kind of stayed away from it. This is a very tricky topic. So I defer to, it's just tricky to me. I just don't understand how something can be so prevalent.
I'm watching the NBA last night.
Well, that's a whole other.
I know. And I'm watching the NBA and all I saw, like once a quarter, they would show, okay, in DraftKings or whatever it is, or FanDuel, that they showed the line. You could bet on the game because the line had changed. And so you have in-game betting, which was crazy. There was a game last night, one of the NBA games last night ended the over under was like 222 or something, or 215 or something like that, or whatever. The game was over. They inbound the pass. The guy goes up and dunks it, and the over hit by a half a point. Are you?
There was a play in March Madness where it was the 1 versus 16. I forget which one it was, but I think the spread was 22. It was a 24-point, lead. There was 3 seconds left. guy on the 16 seed literally dribbled down like it was a buzzer beater attempt. He hit it, but no, it was like he covered. There's no way you're going to do that unless you know it's for coverage. It's ethics.
Yeah.
And
I had somebody in the back room. They dropped off. Whoever was in the back room, come back. I'll bring you on.
I think it was our first guest.
I don't want to let anybody else know. There is nobody else in the back room currently.
Yeah, now it's there.
Somebody else would like to come on. The link is in the chat below. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Come on.
Let's talk draft. I mean, this is the time. This is our last show before the last Friday show before the draft officially starts.
I know next week's going to be absolutely insane.
It's going to be bonkers, man.
It's going to be bonkers next week.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Yeah, I mean, a number of names that I would be thrilled with the Dolphins' first name that they call, whether it's 51, moving up in the 40s, 30s, whether it's moving back in the 60s, 70s. You know. Yeah, I think it was the Houston game, new breed. That makes sense. That makes some sense. But yeah, gambling is a very, very weird topic in sport these days, Steven. Very weird.
Pete Rose, should he be in the Hall of Fame? Should he not be? Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Hard yes.
Good morning, Rashad. You got to take yourself off.
Do a stash. On mute.
Am I still on mute? My bad.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Rashad.
How you fellas doing this morning?
Pretty good. How are you?
How are you?
I'm okay. Going to the dentist.
Another dentist appointment?
What is up with all the listeners today with problems with their... Are y'all brushing your teeth correctly? Huh?
I go to the dentist about 2 times a month. I haven't been in 10 months, so it's kind of weird for me.
What are the odds of that? All right, hey.
Somebody call.
I had 16 cavities and it cost a lot of money.
You went to the dentist 2 times? Bruh.
Yeah.
Brush your teeth, my guy.
Insurance helped a lot, but not enough. I'll tell you that much.
Brush your teeth, my guy.
Everybody brush and floss. Trust me, it's worth it at the end.
It's Spread Kindness Friday, and Rashad's homework for everybody is floss and floss. Say that 5 times fast, and brush your teeth. Use the birthday song. Happy birthday. That's what I have to teach my children.
I do the Dolphin song.
Oh, snap, Jason! How did I miss that? Miami has the Dolphins. They're great. You don't even have to do the birthday song. There you go. You're a smart man, Jason. What do you want to talk about, Rashad?
Oh, we were talking draft.
Yeah.
So what do the Dolphins need? Who must the Dolphins select to make the 2023 draft a successful one?
It made sense for us to get a tight end. Sorry, I'm downtown open. You can go hear a lot of cars. But I'm all in on Bijan right now. We're going to trade up.
Let's talk about this.
And the helicopter.
What are the odds that the Miami Dolphins trade up for Bijan Robinson? Like, there's a fan theory that this is going to happen. Like, the Dolphins are going to do this. I don't believe it.
I don't know what assets they can compile to move up to the top 20, top 25.
I see it as us trading next year's first.
For a running back?
Oh, my
Sadly.
I'm going to right now. If the Dolphins do that, Dolphin fans should riot.
It's in the sense.
In the streets if they do
this is what I'm talking about.
Crap
let me interject. Never, ever has Chris Greer overpaid for a running back. This wouldn't be overpay. This would be straight stupidity if you trade a first rounder next year when they don't have a third or a fourth. So you're telling me they're going to trade up. They already have 4 running backs. They're rumored to be in the Dalvin Cook. They're going to trade next year's first to only leave themselves with a 2nd, 6th, and 7th.
No way, bro.
I will give up coffee if that happens.
Say that one more time.
I will give up coffee if that happens.
If the Dolphins go out and trade next year's first round draft pick for Bijan Robinson, it will be the stupidest move. The stupidest move the Dolphins have made in the last 10 years.
What would guarantee us?
And trust me, Rashad, they've made a lot of stupid moves. That would go down as the stupidest.
You know what I would do? I would check to see that someone didn't possess and trying to take over Chris Greer's soul.
Bro, think about this for a second. Here's why that makes absolutely no sense.
Zero.
Okay? And I love you.
It's just one trade option, fellas. There could be multiple. We can do 2 seconds. We can do whatever.
You brought it up.
I'm just saying.
You brought it up, and I just want to tell you why this makes absolutely no sense. Okay, so first reason why it makes no sense. Number one, the NFL in general just doesn't value running backs like that. So you want to sit here and tell me that despite everything I'm being told from the NFL, despite everything I'm being told from every NFL GM, despite everything that's being told about how running backs are valued in the NFL, that the Dolphins straight up don't want that, right? Like they don't want that they're going to trade a first round pick next year for that? No way. No.
Will you allow me to answer your question?
I will in a minute. Let me finish. I'm cooking, sir. Number two reason why it will never happen. The Dolphins understand the reality of the Tua situation. And yes, I'm going to bring up Tua. So the last thing they're going to do is give up the insurance policy that they have in the first round draft pick as a first round draft pick next year that they can use towards a quarterback. God forbid Tua doesn't work out. That is the biggest reason. And number 3 reason why it will never happen is the 4 people that they currently already signed, the running it back from last year's draft running back room.
That's funny. I say the same thing when I talk about drafting Jahmyr Gibbs at 51, but nobody hears me when I say that.
Jahmyr Gibbs is a big difference, bud, from that to Bijan. Big difference, night and day.
Can I explain now?
Go ahead.
Are you done meal prepping?
Dude, I cooked, and it was delicious. And let me tell you, man, you should have some.
Okay. Are we a Super Bowl caliber team?
We are a Super Bowl caliber team. Yes, I would admit to that.
Okay, so I say we trade up for Bijan Robinson.
Because you think we're a running back away from being like elite? Is that what you think?
I think Chris Greer has this thing with making these splash moves.
What has Chris Greer done to ever show you that he would make a trade like that? He has robbed people in trades. He didn't get robbed.
Yes. Is it a rob? Is it a robbery? If it's pick 30 next year, pick 31, because that's essentially what he did when he traded the 49ers draft pick for Bradley Chubb.
In season, Chubb was out. Okay. Different scenario.
Oh, okay. Question: If we never made the Bradley Chubb trade, and we were sitting at pick 30, I think the Niners that pick was.
But we did make the Chubb trade.
I know. I'm.
It's irrelevant.
Hey, Noob has stated this is literally dumber than anything Pete has ever said.
Y'all can see it that way. I don't care.
All right. The running back. Go ahead, Tua. Go ahead.
Could we trade up from pick 30 for Bijan Robinson?
Number 1, I think he goes 26. He ain't going by the Cowboys. That's number 1. So we'll just consider that. You have to leave out the Cowboys.
So hey, you know what? To be fair to your thing, there will be. Let's say he drops to the very last pick of the first round.
Won't happen.
There will be multiple teams vying for that last pick to go after Bijan Robinson. I mean, who's got the last pick in the draft right now? Does Kansas City have the last pick in the draft?
Pick 31, Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs. You know how much they would love for that scenario to happen? They would be like, please let this happen because they could ask for a king's ransom for that.
If it comes to that, then it will be pick 51 in the second next year or something like that. I have the Dolphins.
To go after that.
That's if he falls that far. I don't got him falling that far. I got somebody else trading up to go get Bijan Robinson as that's their running back away.
Dolphins in no way, shape, or form are drafting next year's first-round pick for a running back. It will not happen. And if it does, Rashad, you can definitely host the show. You can become the new host of CLOCKBLOCKERS.
I don't need to host the show.
And bro, how about this? If that happens, I will give you full immunity from ever being kicked off ever again for the rest of the show's.
This is my scenario. We call up Pete Carroll, who has, I think, 2 first-round picks. I think he has one mid-first round.
You didn't.
I heard you. I'm not worried about that. Y'all can kick me off because I love the donations for the channel. Anywho,
I appreciate that, Rashad.
Anywho,
this is the wildest thing you've ever said. I just want.
Yeah. This is my first time jumping off the limb. I'm all in on Bijan. You know what's crazy? I'm not the biggest Bijan Robinson fan, but I'll take it.
But you just told me that the Dolphins are going to trade next year's first round pick for him.
Because
it should happen. Because I asked you.
I'm just going off of recent history of what we've done. The things that we do.
That we're going to do that.
If you're going off of recent history,
we trade our draft picks. Recent history, we trade our draft picks to go up to make a splash, or we trade it for an already proven commodity. That's what we do. That's what we've done for the last 3 years. Am I right? Is it 3 or 2 years? Well, 3. No. You can say 3.
Specifically, here's the thing. Greer has shown patterns and tells on how he handles certain positions. Running back, it is so clear on how he handles it. He tries to shop for discount and hit on a discount. If it doesn't happen, he'll try again. He's not overspent organizationally. Ronnie Brown was the highest Dolphin running back. He was the 2nd overall pick. And then Daniel Thomas, was a 2nd rounder. And then Kenyon Drake, a 3rd, separated between a number of years. And then we're talking.
I have a question.
You know,
I have a question.
Greer does not spend prime dollars or assets on running backs. He never will.
Hey,
so we didn't try to go for Dalvin Cook.
No. Here's the deal with Dalvin Cook, and I've been saying this over and over again. We will try to go after him at Greer's price point. Why has it hasn't happened yet?
I believe that. But that's why I also think that we go after the best running back in the draft, one, because it's going to be at that cheap price. The most that is going to cost us is draft picks. The most that is going to cost us is draft picks. We're sitting here talking about. I think Steven and Cam yesterday were saying we're drafting depth pieces. We're looking at corner. We need to look for Xavier Howard's replacement. This is what TV was talking about. This is what the good teams do.
I said that is a working theory.
You don't have to look for Xavier Howard's replacement when you have depth like Nick Needham.
That's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I'm with you, Sonny. I don't agree. We're looking for depth.
I don't want you to put words in my mouth. I said TD Phins Talk had said that was a theory, and I elaborated on that.
And Cam agreed with it.
And Cam agreed with it. And I said, and we talked about it today, earlier this morning, that if the best player available is depth to a position that you already, like if there's a defensive tackle that is out there that is like the top defensive tackle at 51, which, by the way, we both think that's not going to be the case. But let's say for the working example of this theory that it is, do you draft him even though you have Zach Seiler and Christian Wilkins? The answer would be yes, because he's the best player. I think the answer would be yes. That was what I was getting at yesterday and today.
One Jalen Carter won't be there at 51. Neither will the kid from Pittsburgh. But I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But even if they were, if Jalen Carter was available at 51, hell yeah, run the ticket up there. But even if it's best player available and there's a decent defensive tackle, we still have 3 holes. Or we can draft. Oh, no, because Bijan won't be there at 51. I'm saying if an upgrade is available
The person
at
in
running
the
back,
is shaking their head and just dying from
tell
what
Lewis
you're
to
saying.
come on.
It's not
Tell
Lewis.
Lewis to come
It's
on
not
out.
Lewis. I don't want to do it.
Who
I
is
don't
it,
want.
Bonzo?
We're not having. We are bringing on one.
I'm
person
almost.
at a time today.
I'm almost at the dentist right now. Anyway, I'm like 2 blocks away.
Well, this conversation is like pulling teeth. I feel I'm at the
you
dentist
get
right
laughing gas and that you wake up and you
now. Oh
thought
my God.
right now I hope that you think that you are under laughing gas right now and this is all a dream because this is the wildest take you've ever had and
Bijan's the guy.
it is the most
Okay. Watch this. All right. Say we don't trade a first
and I
round
love
pick.
you. I love
Can
you.
we trade? Can we trade up for Bijan Robinson without a first round pick? Can we trade into the first round? Yes or no?
Not really.
Time out. We said that we don't necessarily the odds are not with us that we trade into the first round, but it's not out of the question.
I don't know what assets you're pulling
But
together.
it damn sure won't be for a running back. That much I'm sure of. And even if it is, it won't be that we traded next year's first round draft pick. I'm telling you I do not gamble. You know I don't gamble. But man, I have never been more sure about anything in my life. The Dolphins, in no way, shape, or form, are going to trade next year's first round pick to jump into this first round to draft any running back. It doesn't even need to be Bijan Robinson. It's just not gonna happen.
F them picks, Steven. I got a question for you guys. Hold on, wait. Before I go, offensive line, we're pretty much set.
Booted you yet.
We're pretty much set at offensive line, right? Rear came out and said Austin Jackson is pretty much a starter.
We heard him.
We're here. Feeney and Jones are our guards. We're not drafting a top offensive lineman anyway, right?
Why not?
Wait. There's so much depth.
You can say you're trading next year's first rounder for Bijan Robinson. I can say at 51, we'll take a lot.
See, this is the thing. This is the thing, Sonny. I'm going off of what Greer said. He told us.
I'm going off of what Greer does.
Okay. And I'm going off what Greer said when it came to running back. He said they've thought about draft, and then you seen his face when he was like, yeah, we thought about free agency. I'm sure that was Dalvin Cook he was talking about when he said, and we were still looking at free agency. But he had like a nonchalant talk with it. He said nothing about trade.
You know the nonchalant talk is, here's the contract that we have in mind, and it's at this price point. You want to play in the sun? Come on. If you don't, you can go to Buffalo. That's the Dalvin Cook conundrum. It's either Miami or Buffalo, and he ain't going to get into a bidding war. I will say this, not Dalvin Cook for Miami.
Dalvin Cook's either one going to come here at the price we asked for.
Or it will be undrafted running back.
Yep.
I would be shocked.
I don't know if it'll be undrafted. I could see us going after somebody
6 or 7 or whatever. But my point is,
the running back from Tulane is pretty good.
So what Greer said was he had talks about moving up. He had talks about moving back. If he had talks about moving up, who would that be for? Who is he trading into the first round to go get? In y'all opinion. No.
Like I said, everything
pick
Greer
somebody.
does.
What makes sense? What will we trade up into the first round for?
A dominant offensive lineman, your number one tight end, a top linebacker who Vic Fangio wants over running back. Those 3 things over running back
could be the last thing.
Tight end makes it. Tight end makes sense. I heard. That's why I said. That's why I said that makes sense. I want to
say something. To be fair to you and your theory, I could see a scenario where the Dolphins trade up higher in the second round to go get a running back, but it won't be in the first.
This Jahmyr Gibbs is a third down running back at this point.
Come back up here. I'm bringing you on. I'm kicking Rashad off. Come back up. Rashad, don't get your dentist.
I'm outside the office.
They both dropped because you had the worst takes ever on this show.
You never want to keep the dentist waiting, Rashad. You don't want to get them mad.
My appointment is at 9 o'clock. Okay.
Never keep the dentist waiting.
9
o'clock. Y'all want to kick
noon here on the East Coast. You West Coast people, man.
I'm waiting for somebody to pay me off. Y'all got to pay me to get me out of here, okay? Or y'all got to pay Steven to get me out of here. My point is, if we're having talks to trade up, tight end makes sense. He told me offensive line was pretty much set. We wasted a 18th overall pick on Jackson. We wasted assets trading up for Eichenberg. I don't see us wasting more assets to trade.
Path, bro.
Okay, listen. I don't see us trading up. We're not, Steven, we're not trading up for the 6 best offensive linemen. We're not doing that.
If
we will be trading up into the top 10.
If Matthew Bergeron is there,
not into the first round, Steven.
If Matthew Bergeron is there 5 picks ahead of us, I said not into the first. I said not into the first round. Second round, yeah. First round, no. But you think that they're going to draft it? They're going to trade into the first round for a running back, and you don't.
I believe they had discussions.
You think I'm wrong?
I believe they had discussions of trading into the first round, and I believe that is for Bijan Robinson.
Worst take you've ever had. Worst take you've ever had.
I don't see nobody else in the first round that they're going for.
By far the worst.
I don't see nobody else in the first round they will be looking at. Who else in the first round would they be looking at? If it's not a top 10 pick. If it's not a top 10 pick. If it's not a top 10 pick.
Alex takes are better than your take.
If it's not a top 10 pick.
Get into the top 31. Tolerable.
Of course they do. They have a second and a third. A team could be one to trade back for more.
Tolerably. You think a team is moving back 20 spots out of the first, getting rid of the ability to pick up a 5th-year option on a player for a second and a third round draft pick? You're crazy.
Could be. They could have multiple first. They could have multiple first round picks already. They could want 2 second round picks.
The value of a first rounder is also that 5th-year option to keep a player controllable for another year in terms of salary. That is also the value of staying or getting into the first round.
So it never happens.
I didn't say it never happens.
I am telling you unequivocally, without a doubt, 100% absolute, the Miami Dolphins in no way, shape, or form are trading into the first round using next year's first round draft pick to go get a running back. It's never going to happen.
Okay,
and if I'm wrong,
This is just a prediction of mine. Okay. I mean, we've seen wilder things happen before. Nobody's seen us trading. Nobody's seen us trading up for Deion Jordan.
You in this prediction that you currently have are the exact reason why people get mad that I allow other people to get on this to this platform and promote. Okay, that's how bad your take is. You have built it.
Rude.
I'm just saying.
Rashad, hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
In you, man.
Steven, did we trade up for Deion Jordan? Did we do that?
Are you really?
Bringing up Deion Jordan?
Really bringing up Deion Jordan, bro?
Oh, come
on. Sorry, Ali. Ali, sorry.
Oh my God.
Oh, come on. All right, put him in the bathroom. Get him out of here.
I didn't kick him out. He got his own self out. But man, let me tell you.
God, I can't. Bringing up Deion Jordan.
Noob says my dog just ran away because of Rashad's takes.
That's pretty funny.
It was the worst. Rashad, I love you. You are my brother. You've been one of the most loyal listeners of this show. But that is by far the worst take you've ever had, sir. And it's not even close by miles. I mean, nobody's had a worse take than that take. I want to apologize sincerely to Pete for any time I've ever said he's had the worst take on this show, because you, sir, have definitely surpassed that by miles.
We've hit a nerve. He hit a nerve with you, Steven. You were getting a little.
He's there talking about we're not going to trade into the first round for an offensive lineman or anybody else, but we're going to trade into the first round for a running back. Are you kidding me? Using first round pick next year?
Again, Greer has not gone all in when other teams have just jumped over the price point. He'll call, he'll inquire, he'll kick the tires, but you know what it's like? It's like he'll go to something that's worth like $6 million. I got $2 million. No? All right. See you later. And that's it. There's your inquiry. It will be at his price. Everything that he's done. What was the name? Give me the last trade that he got fleeced on.
Who?
Greer. That he got fleeced.
He
doesn't get fleeced. He does the fleecing.
The closest one was trading into the third round or first round to go get Noah. That was it.
He traded back. No, that was a trade back. He had of one of the 3 first-round picks. He traded with Green Bay back 3 or 4 picks. Green Bay traded up to get Jordan Love. That was a bad pick, but it wasn't a fleece. It wasn't like it was a bad pick.
So I guess it is fair to say he's never been fleeced in a trade.
I mean, let's be decent. Value for value.
Picks, but he's never been fleeced.
Value for value, not the players that he's picked or whatever. Value for value, assets for assets. I think that when you see, oh my God, look at what Greer got for tons.
Yeah, for life says everyone is entitled to a bad day, or take Rashad. We'll bounce back one day, bro. Oh, if Cap is telling you that everyone's entitled to a bad take or a bad day, bro, you've done messed up, Rashad. Okay.
Oh man, we're all get us back on the rails here, Steven. We're off the rails.
I dropped the link if anybody else wants to come on. Ooh. But Rashad just like I had 2 people in the back trying to get in to tell Rashad's take, and
wow,
it was like a train wreck, right? It was a car wreck. It was so bad you couldn't turn away from it because it's just bad, right? It's bad, and you got to look. And as human beings, we're like, oh my God, how horrible of a wreck that is. But man, I'm definitely going to sit here and watch the rest of it. I know what's going to happen, and I know it's going to be bad, and people are going to be hurt. But yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Mike, drop the comments. Say I'm right. Y'all are wrong. Nope. Bro, let me tell you something, Rashad. If for any reason your thing comes to fruition, you will get to host the show. You will get to be the network director. You will have full charge of anything for like how you can say for a week or a month or a day. I don't care. You hands down. I will never ever say anybody has a bad take ever again. But there is no way that's going to happen. None. That's how confident I am in that.
Ooh. That was pretty rough. We got one. We got 2.
Walt Dog, good morning.
What's up, Walt?
Yo, what's up, Steph? What's up, Jason?
How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. What's up with y'all?
Just listening to Rashad's bad takes this morning. Recovering from his bad take.
I see. Now I'm listening. You have mentioned about Chris Greer, his drafts and stuff like that. I think his trades. I think the Bradley Chubb trade was a lot high. I think a first round pick for him. I don't think you know what I'm saying. Like he's like let's be real. Bradley Chubb is not a Hall of Famer. Like he's gonna have a 10+ year career. Like, but he's not like a borderline Hall of Famer or Hall of Famer guy. Like I don't see that with him. Jalen Phillips looks like that. But Bradley Chubb for a first round pick, I feel like that was a dump job by Denver. And they fleeced us for a first round pick, and then we got him. Like,
can you say that he fleeced? So 2 reasons why you can't say he fleeced us yet, right? Like number one, the trade, like we still have him on the roster, and we're still in the middle of a run, right? And so
he also got a 5th rounder too. He also got another 5th rounder for next year or 2025, whenever it is. Like that's what he tends to do. He tends to kind of get some sweeteners in there. And Chubb is still a guy from the full season, in a full season with a full training camp, working with Jalen. I want to see what happens with the full season.
And by the way, Fangio part of the team too. By the way, he had his best year of his career under Fangio.
This is an incomplete grade. We can't give him a grade yet.
Yeah. So what do you see from him? Do you see 10 sacks? We need 10 sacks from him minimum.
Here's what we need. See, here, stats are fun. I love stats, but also sometimes you have to look at what a player does that might give other players stats. So maybe if Chubb,
we know that.
Right, of course. So
first round pick.
I need to see what this team does as an overall sack unit, whether it's Jalen Phillips, whether it's Chubb, Agba, some outside linebackers, in Andrew Van Ginkel getting some sack opportunities, or whatever Fangio schemes up. It needs to work from a team standpoint. So if 4 players are getting 7 to 9 sacks, that might be better than 1 player getting 15 and everyone else.
Yeah, we know that. That's good.
Course. So I need to see what happens on both sides of the defensive line on the outside.
I think the defense is ready. I think the defense
me
is
too.
ready. Like I
So
think
let's
And
see Chubb
Walt Dog, to your point, bud, you know, and Jason just kind of touched on it, alluded to it a little bit. Stats are fun, right? Stats are a cool thing. But remember, there's a lot of dogs on this defense, and everybody's got to eat in some way, shape, or form. So guys that you might want to say, oh, yeah, in a typical defense, he should get 8 to 12 sacks in the year, or he should get 12 to 14 sacks or 12 to 16 sacks. There's so many people on this defense that normally, yes, that would be the case in a regular defense, but this is a stacked defense.
I'm not denying that. I know that. To be honest, I'm not expecting a lot from Bradley Chubb. I like other players.
Stat
I like
wise.
other players to get better stats than Bradley Chubb because I don't view him as that type of player. Like he's gonna be an 8 to 10, 12 plus career player, but don't expect him to be, you know, looking at Hall of Fame. Like he's not a Hall of Fame.
Nobody's asking him to be in the Hall of Fame.
Look what we just went through to get Zach Thomas in the Hall of Fame.
What I am asking for Bradley Chubb is for that the defenses respect him enough that other players get a chance to eat because they are having to game plan for Bradley Chubb. And now all of a sudden they're game planning for them, but they're allowing somebody like Jalen Phillips or Emmanuel Ogbah, or if Melvin Ingram comes back, or Van Ginkel, or whoever, or Channing Tindall, right?
I'll go on top of that here. Look at our corners. Look at our secondary. So if you got Chubb, if you got Phillips, if you got that interior pressure, if you're causing these quarterbacks to get rid of that ball, look at what they're throwing into. They're throwing into Jalen Ramsey, Xavier
This defense
Howard.
Is ready. This defense is ready. This defense is not going to be the problem.
I want quarterback hurries. I want knockdowns. I want pressures. All above sacks. I want sacks.
Yes,
and when they get the sacks, I want the strip sack sixes, you know, because that's what we lacked last year.
This defense is not going to be the problem. This defense is going to be top 5, man. Like this
I agree.
Defense is be top 5 minimum, man. It's just that offense a little bit. It's just that offense. But I wanted to mention something about the second round pick. Like a lot of people want to trade up. Like I don't think we're one player away. Like people, you know,
Jason
like we have
and I both agree
like,
with you. Jason and I both agree with you.
Thank you, and I respect that. You know, that's what I'm saying. That shows y'all boys have knowledge and y'all know the team. Y'all know the team. This team is very top heavy. We don't have any depth, and also we have a lot of players that, let's be real, they're on 1-year contracts. Like we have nobody in the program for the long term. We're gonna have to pay a lot of guys. So you have to think about it. We had 4 draft picks last year, 4 draft picks currently this year. That's the least amount for any team for the past 2 years. That's not a winning formula. Like, yeah, I understand F those picks. Trust me, I agree with getting.
It's easy to say that, but the consequences of that also have repercussions.
But you got to look also. Well, listen, you make a really good point, and I'm with you that if I had to count, it's only on one hand that I have to count maybe the holes from what this team needs.
You know, we have starters. We need depth.
They're 3 to 5. They're 3 to 5
starters. We have no holes at starters. We need depth. We need long-term depth.
That's kind of part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I would like to see an upgrade at either left guard or right tackle. I would like to see a viable.
We have capital there with Liam. We have capital there. You already heard what Chris Greer said.
I heard what Chris Greer said, but I also know that a lot of times this is motivation and speak, smoke signal and speak. And again, I'm going to say that this draft, as told to me by a relative of a player who lived through it, the NFL draft is a living, breathing organism that changes with each and every pick. That is verbatim. And that's the realest quote about this thing that you'll ever see or hear, because things do change. And if they have an opportunity to better themselves with how the draft is structured and going,
the board. It's
all about the board and how that living organism of a board kind of ebbs and flows. So if Fangio has a guy that says this guy could be my linebacker, I mean, Chris, Marvin, Mike, I need this linebacker. That might happen, you know? So
I'm not really gonna like it. I'm not gonna lie to you. With that 51 pick, if they get a linebacker, and we have linebackers for this year and possibly next year currently, we have linebackers for this year. I don't know about linebacker. We need a tight end. We need a tight end or an offensive tackle. That's what they need. They need a tight end or an offensive tackle if they're gonna stick with that, 51st pick. I need a tight end.
I agree with you in a sense that tight end and tackle
Or trade back. If their
trading
guys are
back
not
is
there,
not a bad
trade
move.
back.
Trading back is not a bad move. Now
Collect they need day 3 picks. We just need more picks. What if it's 2 7th rounds, a 6th round, a 5th round, or 4th round? We just need more picks. It's not a winning formula to go in a draft like this. 2 years in a row, 4 last year, 4 this year.
But you also, my point, that I want to make before anything is the winning formula is finding out what those picks turned into. Jalen Ramsey, Tyreek Hill, Bradley
I have
Chubb.
no problem with Jalen. I have no problem with Jalen Ramsey. I have no problem with Tyreek Hill.
But that's the formula. The output of those picks were Pro Bowl caliber first round talent players.
You can trade picks 1 through 3 for Pro Bowl or Hall of Fame talent players. I have no problem with that. However, we need day 3 picks. We need 7th round picks, 6th round picks, 5th round picks, so we can take more shots at the board at developing players. We need those picks, and we don't have those. So we have a 2nd round pick, trade back to the 3rd round. You feel me? Still top, 100. You know what I'm saying? And have a 4th or 5th round, if not a couple of more 6th or 7th round picks. Trade back. We're not in position to trade up. We're not almost there. We're not a top 16. When you're a top 16, you can do little stuff like that. You feel me? We look desperate. I'm telling you, fam. We look desperate. We look hungry, bro. I'm telling you. We need to trade now.
Hey, Walt Dog, we are desperate and hungry. That's a reality. We are definitely desperate and hungry.
I would say strategic and hungry.
And
see, and
I have no problem with Walt Dog's desperate and hungry statement. We are a franchise that is desperate and hungry for success. And by the way, that's been shown as much over the last few years, right? That's why we lost the draft pick. That's why Stephen Ross was out here doing what he was doing. I get it. I understand it, but also understand that where they're currently at, I agree with the blanket statement of we are not one player away from this thing.
We're not.
Well, let him go.
But if the Dolphins believe that there is a player that significantly helps this team and makes it better, who am I to say, hey, look, go out and upgrade at that position, even if it's a position we might already have depth in? Now, I'm not ever going to be on Rashad's take. I think that's the craziest take. I think it's a horrible take. There's no way we're drafting a running back or in the first round and trading to get into that first round, the first round of the following year. I think the Dolphins, a lot of people who say that they're not being strategic, I think Jason and I have a very different view on that. I think the Dolphins are being very smart, to be perfectly honest with you. They are manipulating the cap in a way that allows them to utilize to get the best assets and the best players at some of these positions, aka Tyreek Hill, aka Jalen Waddle, aka Christian Wilkins, aka Jalen Ramsey.
5th-year options in the future coming up for Jalen Phillips and Jalen Waddle.
And let me finish. Let me keep cooking. So they have utilized all this stuff. And they also have insurance. Well, Steven, how do they have insurance? Well, number one, they do have first round picks the next following years, right? 2024, 2025, 2026, right? And you also, God forbid this window
doesn't talking about trading it now.
God forbid this window doesn't.
We weren't talking about trading.
Yeah.
If it trades into the first round,
hold on. Give me a second. Let me cook. So, God forbid this window doesn't work out, right? Let's say the next 2 years, worst case scenario, knock on wood, doesn't work out, right? The Dolphins have Christian Wilkins, Tyreek Hill, although he did say publicly he was retiring at the end of his contract, but we'll see. You have Jalen Waddle, and there's probably one or two other players that you could easily trade for a first-round pick. Now, would I want them to do that? No, but if we don't win in this 2-year window and somebody comes in and they hit the reset button and cleans the slate, we can easily have 3 or 4 additional first-round draft picks by trading those guys away and truly clean the slate for 2025 and beyond. It could totally happen. The Dolphins have first-round picks hidden in players, and they have first-round picks in general. And so they have insurance policies.
They really have structured.
I see it. You're right.
Their future is safe. They
really have done a tremendous job. This is Brandon Shore. This is Chris Greer, their staff, salary cap guru, and GM working in tandem to create a phenomenal contract situation for what they have now. the future that is very doable, save a couple of ins and outs that they got to take care of. And I'll give you one better. The quarterback situation with Tua, I think this is contractually from a business standpoint brilliant because you pick up the 5th year. And I'll tell you one better. If you really want to save money, you can franchise him next year and put the contract extension off another year, and he can still make $30 million.
Well, no, he's got
It's
the
the
8
Lamar
mil
Jackson.
this year, the 23 mil next year, and then the following.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Absolutely right.
And by the way, if he doesn't work out,
you have the money.
So you eat a few million next year, more than a few. Okay, that's fair, right? But the reality of the situation is you'll have first round draft picks and you'll have capital to go.
They're not the Rams.
Yeah, and to go get and the consensus next year, Walt Dog. And I don't want to talk about it because I believe that Tua is going to be the guy this year. I really believe that. Jason believes that. Okay. But to play devil's advocate and to look at the other side of the scope, the Dolphins, the entire NFL believes that there are at least 3 quarterbacks in next year's draft that will start day 1 in the NFL and be good, and not just be okay, be good. So and to Jason Sarney's point of what he said about the draft, it's a living, breathing organism. You never know what's going to happen this year with other players around the league. There might be a quarterback that might become available next year that we had no idea that would be, because the relationship just straight broke down with their current organization.
Everybody remember what happened with Laramie Tunsil a couple years ago? Things change. Players drop.
And a picture. So, in my opinion, the Dolphins are they're a top 10 team in the NFL right now, and they're arguably or debatable a top 5 team. But I won't have to give them yet. They haven't won a playoff game, so I won't say top 5. But they're a top 10 team in the NFL. They have a top 10 offense that's already in the books, and they could potentially have a top 10 defense based on their thing. They have Pro Bowl and first team all pro quality players, and they have this team designated and designed to be successful and win football games next year. And they are also in the same boat. Everybody says we're putting all our eggs in one basket. We're whatchamacallit? What's the word? We're betting on the future for right now. No, we're not. We have future even as all this is going on. Understand the Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins, are probably one of the most best put together teams for now and in the future.
They are. They did it good. I remember the rebuild, 2019, I believe. They did it very good.
Yep. They've covered themselves 6 ways to Sunday. All right, man. Let me let you go, man. I appreciate you coming on this morning, Walt Dog.
All right, no problem, Steph. All right.
Dog.
All right.
Man, I believe that, and I know some people are like hopium. That's fine. I get it.
I mean, when you're looking at the team from last year,
it's not trying to convince ourselves. I get that's how it comes off because nobody else is saying it. That's why it sounds like that. But listen to me. I believe that I am correct. Now, granted, this is my opinion, okay? But understand, what I just said are things to back it up, not just thoughts. If you listen to me, right? You trade Tyreek Hill today, what does he get you? First round draft pick.
Well,
you trade Christian Wilkins, what does it get? At minimum, what does it get you? First round draft pick. You trade Jalen Waddle, what does it get you? First round draft pick. You trade. Did I say Christian Wilkins yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So Tyreek.
We don't want it to go there, but yeah, I know what your points are.
But that's 3 first-round draft picks and players. By the way, their contracts are gone now, too. You might need a little bit of that money, so be it. But you got at least 3 first-round draft picks, plus you have 3 first-round draft picks the following years. So you have potentially 6 first-round draft picks over the next 3 years. If you think about it, if the worst-case scenario happened, and that means Tua bombed, there were so many injuries that happened, and it just completely fell apart and just became crap. Which I don't believe for a second is going to be the case. So listen, even if the worst of worst happens, we're still set. We're still in a good position.
The Dolphins are okay, and I see a lot of this in the chat. Same thing, 9-8. No, let's put it on paper right now. Let's analyze why they should be better than 9-8 from last year, a year where their quarterback had injury woes. Their secondary was decimated, and they had a rookie head coach. So let's put all those intangibles to the side. And then let's look at the outs. Who did they lose? No one of major significance. Who did they bring in? Well, they brought in a couple of players of major significance. Number one, Jalen Ramsey. So where we thought we were kind of getting away from the dominant secondary of the Byron Jones, Xavier Howard from a couple of years ago, and now all of a sudden you have a non-washed Xavier Howard really kind of getting that confidence back up. And how are we not talking about now being at 10-7 now that we have Vic Fangio, should everybody just remain relatively healthy? You got a new offensive weapon who could return kicks in Braxton Berrios, and that was a weakness last year. Last year, we were not very good on either return side of things. So that relatively has improved. We've improved, not all the way. It's hard for me to not put 10 wins at a minimum and say that we've improved.
Bare minimum. Like
I'm not going to be the guy to say 14, 13 wins, we're winning the division, we're going to be this seed, that seed. If people are asking me, have they improved 1 or 2 wins? How could you not say that? How could you not?
I agree.
Even if Tua misses 3 or 4 games, let's say Tua plays 13 games. What do you think Tua's record could be in 13 games? You think it could be 9-4? You think it could be 8-5? And then, you know what I mean? Like, I think it could be 9-4. And then you're asking for a quarterback to win 1 or 2 games. This is the NFL. This is what happens, right? And hopefully the Dolphins have figured out.
And by the way, people are going to hate that you brought that up.
I'm sorry. They're going to hate a lot of things that I bring up.
But
it just that is what it is.
But I think it's fair to bring up, and I think it's also understanding if worst case scenario happens, we're still in a good position.
Correct.
We're just understand that.
I'm okay with what they have best case scenario, and I'm tolerant of what they have to happen worst case.
Right? If best case scenario happens,
they're a Super Bowl team.
They're a Super Bowl team, and
there's
no ands or buts about it. They have the roster, they have the players, they have the quarterback, they got the coaches, they got it all.
11-2 in 13 games. I mean, if anyone's 11-2 in 13 games, I mean, how often are we really truly seeing that?
And by the way, let's say, God forbid, I want you all to play this out too. If the Dolphins are 11-2 after 13 games, and Tua taking them there, and then Tua gets hurt again, God forbid, knock on wood. Okay. Were they wrong about his talent? Nope. They were just wrong about his health. And that sucks. But that happens in the NFL, right? That happens. But they weren't wrong about his talent if that happens. At all. Not even close. Oh, Steven, Tyreek Hill's the reason for it. Oh, no. See? No, don't get it twisted. He makes this team better. But he was brought here for the sole purpose of what Tua needed to be a successful quarterback. Mm-hmm. And Mike McDaniel had this algorithm and said, if you guys follow this algorithm, Tua will be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So all we need Tua is to be healthy. And that's asking a lot. And that's understandable.
I totally agree. I think, and that obviously correlates to the offensive line. But if you look at the offensive line has improved. I mean, he wasn't sacked at an inordinate amount last year, but of course, when he got hit, he got hit.
I think he's smart with the football.
I mean, I'm really very fascinated about this learning how to fall and taking his hits a little bit better. In the 90s, there was a picture of Dan Marino in a get up in karate and stretching out and learning how to just get his body nimble. And Marino was playing on one leg, so there are things
for 2 or 3 years.
Has anyone ever seen the boot and contraption that he needed to put on after that Achilles surgery? I mean, it went up to the middle of his calf. He
even said he didn't know if he'd play again.
Google, I mean, just totally off topic here, but Google Marino's cleat from like 1996. It literally this big. It goes all the way up. But Tua is going to do everything that he can to get his body in a position to absorb what needs to happen. And I think that this offense is predicated on keeping Tua upright getting the ball out extremely quickly, getting timely throws, and hopefully with this defense, so much less of a field has to be navigated. So much more time of possession can be chewed up from a hopeful, consistent running game. We don't need Tua to be the Marino statistic magical man. This team is too overall.
Andre says, so it's okay for you guys that we are in a good position just in case things don't pan out. But really, what the F when we haven't done everything to win it this year, like we've been saying for over 20 years? Really,
because there's a major difference.
I want to answer this.
Major difference.
Andres, I understand how you feel. But riddle me this, Batman. Okay? Riddle me this. Where have the Dolphins not put all their eggs? How have they not done the best that they can do? Right? Okay. Let's play out the answers you would probably give me. Well, they don't have the best quarterback that was available in the last couple of years. They missed out on Brady. They missed out on Deshaun Watson. They missed out on Lamar Jackson. They missed out on Aaron Rodgers. Well, Tom Brady was at the end of his career, and we got in trouble for trying to recruit him to begin with, right? So that one kind of went out the window. So be it, right? Deshaun Watson, let's be honest, nobody wanted to touch him with a 10-foot pole. And we didn't want him here in South Beach with all the issues that he had. Come on now. So you didn't miss out there. And look what happened in Cleveland. It's not like he's done wonders there so far since he's, granted, only played, 8 games? But he didn't look real great in those 8 games either. That looks like a crap fest up in Cleveland. Let's be real. Number 3, let's talk about Lamar. Lamar's missed more games than 2 of the last 2 years. Yes, Steven, I understand. Some of it is arguably because he was sitting out because of the contract situation. So be it. So you either say his health or he quit on his team. Which one do you want? Because both can be true, right? And then you say Aaron Rodgers. So you want me to draft a guy, you want me to trade for a guy that was only available this year, okay, this offseason, who was 95% sure he was ready to quit football after finding and learning what the Packers really thought of them and wanted to do with them, and then said in a span of 72 hours, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna play. He doesn't want to play. So the quarterback. So hold on. The quarterback argument is irrelevant. Tua is hands down the best quarterback available and the best quarterback, period, to run the offense. That was a top 10 offense last year for this team. So how do you improve upon that? You go get a running back. Oh, they ran it back with the same people this year. Okay, that's fair.
So
we're not done yet, and the offseason's not over yet. And to be fair to your statement, the last 10 Super Bowl winning teams did not have a bell cow running back. They did not. Understand that. Though out of the 10, only one of them made more than $4 million in that year. And the 3 others made over $1 million. Everybody else was under $1 million. So you don't need a bell cow running back to win a Super Bowl. There's your argument there. Well, Steven, what about offensive line? Well, they did go out and get the number 1 free agent available last year in the offseason in Teron Armstead. But Steven, he has an injury issue. That's fair. But they believe that is the one question mark that I think we can all agree. So I'll even put that in your column there, Andres, the offensive line situation. But you can also say that they have tried to make changes there. Maybe not necessary changes, but they did bring in Teron Armstead. They did bring in Connor Williams, and those 2 guys did solidify or shore up the offensive line when they were on the field. And Brandon Shell, who I pray that we kind of get back. I would love to see Brandon Shell come back. He played well for some of when he was in, and there's some things to like. We just need to improve tremendously on it. But let's just put over that to the side. Let's go to the defensive side. 2 years ago, the Dolphins had Brian Flores, and Flores created this monster defense. We were 18 or 21 straight games with a turnover, right? Or something like that. And we were scoring a touchdown per game on defense or whatever it was. We had a great defense. And then last year, Flores left. Josh Boyer comes in with essentially the same defense at the beginning of the year. And then the injuries happened. But he was still making questionable calls By the way, with a first-year rookie head coach who was playing with a top 10 offense for 75% plus time of the year. And now you're going to take that situation and say, oh, well, we got rid of Boyer. We brought in Vic Fangio this offseason. And then we went out and got a middle linebacker in David Long. So explain to me. And by the way, everybody else is going to be healthy. All these injuries that we had, they're going to be healthy come training camp time. So, Andres, I love you, brother. But let's be real. The Dolphins have done everything, with the question mark about the offensive line, which I will concede to, of making this team a Super Bowl winning team. What are you talking about? They've never done this. They've never made these moves. They've never even come close to making these moves.
This is the most talented roster that they have since, and when I go back to like 2003 with Ricky Williams, it was really majority on the defensive side of the ball, and then you had Ricky. You know, they had Jay Fiedler as the quarterback, was an undrafted quarterback. You know, and this year, arguably, they've given Tua the best wide receiver tandem in the league, arguably, or a top 2 tandem of wide receivers in the league. Throw Chase and Higgins there, whatever. A defense that could be led by a terrific head coach type coordinator in Vic Fangio. The talent on the defense at every single level. Defensive line, that whole front 7 when you add the linebackers on the outside from a front 7 pressure standpoint. Cornerback 1A, Ramsey and Xavier Howard. And 75% of Xavier Howard, still better than 80% of the league. That's the math. So, yeah, Xavier Howard is not Xavier Howard from 2 years ago. Let's call him 75%, still better than 80% of the league. And then you have 2 young safeties who could be phenomenal.
Andres goes on to say why I was doing my rant. No, we haven't, and we all know it's
what if we haven't?
Okay, hold on. And please don't say it's different this year. Okay, which is true. Okay, which is fine. That's
it is different.
Yeah,
I believe it's very different.
David said this is the most talented roster we've had in 25 plus years. And then there were some other people say, and wait, what did all that what did that do for us? Number one, this is the second year with the new regime, or with the new head coach, who, by the way, now is brought in as defensive coordinator that he wanted to begin with, not one that he was gifted.
Right.
Or given. Maybe gift is not the right word. He was told to use that defense last year. Okay. I understand. And people are saying, so we don't draft a running back. We don't go after a running back. We don't do X, Y, and Z. It is April 21st. The draft has not happened yet, and the second wave of free agency has not happened yet. Wait,
and there's money. And there's money from the Byron Jones contract that's going to come back, and there's still right, and there's still free agents.
It's been on record that they're renegotiating Christian's contract, which I am 100% certain will be very cap friendly this year.
Wilkins?
Yes.
You backload that contract to 2025, 2026, you're fine.
So contract friendly, and Seiler's going to get a new deal, and you make that contract friendly, and maybe you restructure, say, Emmanuel, if you want to keep on staying here, maybe you, although we went into the manual, it probably makes sense just to keep his contract the way that it is right now for this year, but still.
All these deals are friendly.
Jerome Baker, we might be able to renegotiate if you want to keep him.
I like Baker.
Yeah. So look, all I'm saying is, we're not done yet. And everything that they have had the ability to do, they've either tried to go after it and it didn't work out, right? Or they did do it. They upgraded the offensive line. That's fair. You can be mad all you want. They upgraded the offensive line last year.
Yeah, they did.
Hands down. They upgraded it last year. Okay? What else do you want to be mad about? The quarterback? The only quarterback that you can be mad about that is maybe the Brady situation with what Stephen Ross did. That's the only thing you can truly be mad about. Can't be mad at the Deshaun Watson situation. You can't be mad at the Lamar Jackson situation. And you can't be mad at the Aaron Rodgers situation. Because all three of them had major red flags with them. Well, Steven, Tua has red flags. Yes, he does. And it's health. But this offense was predicated and designed from an offensive coordinator who said, hey, day one, I can make this guy great, and then executed it. And this was a top 10 offense last year, despite all the injuries that he had. Imagine if he wasn't injured. Imagine what it would have been. He still did it. It was at the end of the year. The Miami Dolphins were still a top 10 offense with all the time that Teddy Bridgewater played and all the time that Skylar Thompson played. And you don't have faith in the team? You don't have faith that this is a great squad?
And I do think,
come on, make it make sense.
McDaniel's going to at least improve on his coaching. I don't want to use the word flaws, but he had some mistakes last year as a rookie head coach. What rookie head coach is perfect?
Hey, learning curve.
Yeah.
You get that with a first-year head coach.
Fine. It's totally fine. The defense last year was
top 10 offense versus bottom. I'm sorry. There's no make it. See, that statement, B. McD, thank you for being a member of the channel. I love you, brother. That statement, though, right there infuriates me.
They actually went against, I think the stat was
the hell out of me.
When they were on their winning streak, I think they went against of the 8, whatever it was, like 5 top 10 defenses. So I don't want to hear that. You know,
this is the problem. Y'all, we haven't had a top 10 defense period since the mid 90s. The early 90s, actually, to be exact, right? What did we say, 93? Something like that?
In the 2000s, we had a killer defense.
No. I meant top 10 offense. I'm sorry.
That was
top
94.
10 offense. Top 10 offense.
95.
I apologize. I meant top 10 offense. We haven't had a top 10 offense since the early to mid 90s. And then the moment we do, we then bring up, it was against top 5. It was against
Baltimore. It was Buffalo twice. It was the Jets twice.
Out of here.
So I'll name those defenses.
Kidding me?
Buffalo's defense twice, the Jets defense twice, the Patriots defense.
That B. McD is the definition of moving the goalpost. That is the problem with some of the fan base, and that is why I will never do it, but that is why some people within the fan base don't bring on a lot of fans, because statements like that, you're not satisfied, you're not happy with anything. The Dolphins, listen to me when matter of fact, I'm gonna make myself bigger. Listen to me. When I tell you all, this isn't a bag of hopium. This ain't your local hopium dealer. This ain't the glass half full kind of guy. This is the real talk. Right now, listen to me. Look at my eyes. Y'all listening? The Miami Dolphins are the best they have ever been since the mid-90s. Hands down. Not even close. They have some of the best players on the rosters in that time. They have some of the best players in the league. They had a top 10 offense despite all the struggles that they had last year with the quarterback situation and the problems that they had in the defense. They got rid of them and brought in the highly touted, for all intents and purposes, top 3 defensive coordinator in the league. So they improved on there. And then they improved in some of the personnel. You backed up that backfield a little bit more. You went out and got David Long. All they can do is on paper right now. That's it. On April 21st, that's all they can do. But you know what they did last year? They improved last year. Well, they didn't improve in the win-loss column. Bro, you got to get it where it's at. And you also got to understand, you got to take things for what it is. Well, Steven, that's the definition of making excuses. No, it's not. Did we have a first-time head coach last year? Yes or no, Jason?
We had a first-year head coach last year.
We sure did. Did we have a quarterback who was injured last year for 1/3 of the season?
Yes, we did.
Did we have a secondary that was beat up and banged up for most of the year last year? Decimated. Those are realities. Those aren't excuses. They happened. Don't play. Yes, we had the same record. But we had the same record from the previous year because of those things. You take those equations out of there, I'm telling y'all right, and then add to what we're going to do this year. Yes, we should improve at minimum minimum by 2 games, if not more. They're not excuses. Those are realities of the situation. And still made the playoffs. And then out of all, and then with a third string quarterback, almost won that game. Hello, El Capitan.
That's it, Steven. You drew me out. I couldn't watch anymore and not come up. I couldn't do it. I got to stop the propaganda. I got to stop it.
The propaganda. I love it.
I got to stop the propaganda. It's enough.
I'm ready for this.
That's enough. You're sitting here with your crazy to a sexual math. It's insane. If it was this way and not the way it really was, we would be this. I mean, come on, bro.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not saying that this isn't a great team, but I remember this fan base crowing about this is the most talented team we've ever had last offseason and the offseason before that.
It wasn't the offseason before that, but it was.
Of course it was. You remember how high everybody was on Flores and how he was coming back and how this defense was legit. Now we were going to have Tua.
We didn't say roster, but we said this is the most hope we've had in an offseason 2 years ago. But I'll say last offseason is the one that I remember that, hey, look, the talent is crazy. And yes, it was.
You guys forget how much you guys loved Will Fuller and the signing and stuff like that.
If I ever see Will Fuller on the street to this day,
from me, El Capitan,
Will Fuller better go to the other side of the street if I see him to this day.
Yay.
Waste of $10 million. Him and Jay Cutler both. If we ever pay a player a 1 year, $10 million again, I'm going to lose my mind.
Seems to be the cursed number for 1 year.
When have we gone into a training camp with this much talent?
Never.
Listen, I'm not disputing the fact of talent spread on both sides of the ball.
What are you disputing?
Super good.
So
what I'm arguing with is you're sitting here with your made up math on projections of what has happened last year to project what you hope to happen this year.
El Capitan.
It's not. It's totally made up. You're literally saying if these things didn't happen, which they did.
Give me an example of my made up math. I want you to be specific with me.
So, okay, first of all, we lost one more game than we did than the previous year last year.
Because we were playoffs, sir. Because we made the playoffs. Go ahead.
That doesn't what?
What
do you mean we made the playoffs? No. We in season lost one more game.
Because there was an extra game played last year, sir.
Still made the playoffs.
Still made the playoffs.
Not deny. Okay, look, all right. You know what? Again, you guys, and here
10 wins and not make the playoffs, and
how's that made up?
No.
I'll go 9 in the playoffs all day.
Look, I'm not saying making the playoffs isn't good. You got again with the twisting of the words.
Oh,
it's
Chris, we are asking you to be specific off of what we're saying, my guy. That's what we're asking. And we want you to be specific so that we can rebuttal.
You always you make a good point when you caveat everything with the only concern is injuries. And yeah, I got you. You know, it is a concern. Got you. But don't you think that this team look, okay, talent-wise on all ends of the spectrum from the floor of the team, especially bringing back all the UDFA guys that we've had around here, like the Nick Needhams of the world. It certainly boasts well for what we hope to see out of this football team. But it all hinges on the quarterback position. And, listen, I got to dispel the – huh?
How did he do when he was healthy last year?
Again, how does he do when he's healthy?
I just asked to answer the question because it's the same thing. If they're healthy, we're good. If they're not, like any other NFL team, could be a problem.
And Chris, before you answer that, and you don't have to because you know the answer to it, but to be fair to you, what you are mad at with us, from what it sounds like to me, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I am asking you to clarify once I ask this, okay? What I hear you saying is that you're mad that we are, quote unquote, making caveats to everything that we have discussed. But the reality is those caveats are facts. The facts are The facts are we played one
Facts
extra
are,
game.
if my
Hold
mom
on,
had a
hold on, let
wiener,
me
she'd
finish.
be my father. So I mean, this is, and you can't put a caveat on a
Yes,
what
you
would have
can.
happened on the other side. Now that's a fact. That's not how thesis works. That's not how
All right,
it's not.
All right. So let's break this down in its simplest form. The Dolphins lost one more game than they won than they lost the previous year, right?
Yes.
Okay, but did they play an extra game?
You know what, Steven? You win.
I'm
You guys
just
are right.
asking.
You're right. You're right. In season, winning 10 games in season last year to only winning 9, last year winning 9 to the previous year winning 10. Again, it's a lateral move. It's a lateral move that
I look
got
at
us
it like
into the
this, El
playoffs.
Capitan. I look at it like this, and if you don't mind, I'm sorry that I interrupted, but if you want to look
please,
at the lateral move, if you want to look at I actually look at it making the playoffs despite Tua being injured a couple of games, despite in consecutive weeks, before that, not even starting with Byron Jones. That was a wash, so forget that. Didn't play with him. And then week 6, week 7, bing, bang, boom, you had Nick Needham down, Brandon Jones down. The value of those guys. And then Kader Kohu steps up. And now we trade for Chubb, and we're going to get a chance to have a full season of all this if it works. Chubb week 1. Jalen Ramsey. Steve, let me just finish it up. So week 1, instead of squeaking away with a win against the Patriots, I know we won like 20-6 or whatever, but it wasn't a dominant win. Like, I think this team could beat a week 1 opponent 35-12. I think week 1, this team can come out and run a team at the gates. We didn't have that last year. We had let's see what we got. Let's see what we can do. Now this team
Sarney, I'm not here to temper expectations for this season. Not even a little bit. And in fact, if anything, I'm here to rise expectations, because if the team could have fooled me. Well, now listen, the team will hinge, as both of you have pointed out, on the quarterback position. And it is an absolute gamble, to say the least. Are we to believe that the white belt jiu-jitsu guy is now going to be better off as far as concussions go? It seems to me that there's a lot of people juicing it up. Because that's condescending. That's right. That's right. It's condescending. You're absolutely right. And
why?
Because Sarney, it's a freaking
He's
joke,
trying to
bro.
train his body right. He's using methods that have been used by other people. This quarterback. I'm not a Tua near. I'm not a Tua stan.
Could have fooled me, Sarney.
He was drafted. But what I need people to understand is stop slandering a man for being a hardworking, pious family man, and football teammate. Why does this man get so much crap?
You know why he does.
I can't stand it.
I'm
not
not
even
like it either. Hey, real quick, can somebody just clarify what was the extra game we got last year?
Yes, I am, Andres. You really should have gone back to when I was begging for us to trade up for Joe Burrow.
Can somebody just ask me what was the extra game we got last year? What was the extra game?
You guys are all
Who was the opponent? Who was the extra opponent we got last year?
I think it was the Giants.
Oh, it was the Giants.
Or not.
Yeah, the Giants. The Giants was the extra home game.
We didn't play the Giants last year, did we?
2 years.
Or was it the Lions? Maybe it was the Lions this year. I can't remember. Dang, that's a good question.
We played.
This year was the Chargers.
It was the Chargers. Okay, so somebody said to me, Steven, they would have been 8-8 because we won the last game. No, that's false. You have to take into account what the extra game was. And the Chargers, if I'm correct, was the extra game. And we lost that game. So we wouldn't have had as many losses last year as we had if we didn't play the extra game. Again, right? No, I'm just no.
So if we didn't play an extra game, we'd have more victories.
No, we wouldn't
because
have more
we acquired
victories.
another loss.
Losses. I never said we'd have more victories. I said we'd have less losses. But again, I wanted the caveat to be up there because I think that you have to play those into account.
Caveat, schmaviat, Steven. The facts are the only stat that matters are wins and losses.
Here's where I want to end the debate. Here we go. If the Kansas City Chiefs lose Patrick Mahomes to a season-ending injury sometime this year, and they don't win the playoffs, could it be said that they didn't win or that they don't win the Super Bowl? Is it fair to say, hey, look, they didn't win the Super Bowl because Mahomes got hurt, and that's about the only reason. Odds are.
Again, Steven, you're
Is that
making
fair?
up things in
Is
La
that-
La Land because
It's not.
remember,
I'm
Mahomes
asking
did
you
get
to-
hurt. He hurt his ankle and still won the friggin' Super Bowl.
He played. I'm asking you for if he were to go out with an injury and they lose the Super Bowl.
Yes, you know
What
what?
would the
That's right.
excuse be
Yep.
for
If
them
he
losing
goes
the Super
down,
Bowl?
they are not the same football team.
They are
no
not.
different than any other
Exactly.
football team that
You're
has their
making my
perceptive
point.
starter.
You're
Yeah, I
making
got
my
you.
point.
You know what? You're right. Let's ride or die all the way. Run this bad boy right into the dirt. So Dolphin fans need to learn the lesson again and again and again. Because I'm more about
but Cap, that's the problem. This fan base has PTSD like a mother, and you know it. And so
no, I think this fan base needs to understand what the hell football is, and it's not stats. It's about heart, and you got to have heart and grit and be a freak athlete. Be a freak athlete, especially in the NFL.
I don't disagree with
So,
that, and I don't disagree with your statement blanketly. I don't, but I also think that Tua played like an MVP for 70% of the season last year.
I want to address Noob's comment. I say that I don't need Tua to be a statistical Dan Marino at all. I need him to help win games. So how are you trying to say that I'm saying that I want Tua to win MVP more than they want to make the playoffs? That is the most ridiculous comment I think I've ever heard. I would. Hold on, LCAP. I want Tua to finish this with a W. 17 of 23, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I don't need 31 out of 38. 375 yards, 3-0. I need W's. I don't care if he's the MVP. I want wins.
And by the way, Jason, I'm glad you said that because I know Vonjo and Cap and all these other people will say that's what they're talking about. It didn't change in the win-loss column, so it's irrelevant.
No, Steven, you want to know what I'm talking about? Don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you've done. And all's a lot of these Dolphin fans this year are all projecting what they believe is going to happen because they take the good stats. They take the good stats and cherry pick it.
That's what we do right now in April's project.
I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just pointing out the actual facts, not the made up ones, not the ones that fit narratives, not woulda, coulda, shoulda happened if things went this way. What actually did happen because things went the way they did.
Okay.
And they lost on the road by 3.
Buffalo. Let me ask you, do you put that all on Tua?
Do I put it all on Tua? You know what? No, but I would give him the lion's share of the blame. Beyond, but also I would say 100% of the blame that Tua carries, even more of that weight lies on the weight of the organization and their shortcomings to address things.
Fair.
So
fair.
That's what I would do.
And to add to you, and by the way, I think I'm 98% with you on that. And the only reason I'm not 100 is I don't necessarily like using the word lion's share of the weight. I think that, and I don't know how I would have to do just a little bit more. Like, I don't know what adjectives I would use or how I would put it, to be honest with you. But what I would say is, I think last year, the reason for some of the losses are clear as day. And part of that is Tua, right? And I can admit that. And maybe a majority of it is, if I'm honest with myself. But I also know that McDaniel has some of the blame for some of the losses last year. Warrior had some of the blame for the losses last year. And the injuries had some of the blame for the reason that we lost last year, right? Because we, even in games that we lost, there were times where we're like, man, if you know, it's ands, ifs, or buts, right? If we just did this, or if we just did that, or if we just had that person, but it was not all on Tua. And so point
here's where I'll give it to Tua in the loss column of most concerning to me. Okay. December 25th against the Green Bay Packers, the game in which he suffered a concussion on a play that I honestly can't find and can't tell you why or how that's a concussive worthy play. And if that's the fact in the case, this is an absolute liability with hundreds of millions of dollars riding on for a guy who, I'm sorry guys, but like again, and I said, it comes down to heart, health, and God-given athletic freak ability. And if you're talking about a guy who can get, you know, for lack of a better term, and it's going to sound insensitive, ragdolled by defensive
I don't
linemen
have a problem
and
with
been
that term.
taken out, then I'm
it's
telling you, as a guy who played defense their entire life when they played football, I look to ragdoll fools knowing that that's going to take them out of the game.
So two things. Now, I'm not mad at that's the term you used. I think it's a fair term to use. All right. And I also know that football is straight up a violent sport. Nobody's discounting or not arguing that, right? Like we're on the same page there. We all agree with that. And by the way, I think it's so funny that Danny Marino's comment that is El Capitan equals Dolphins fan, Stephen D equals /Dolphins fan. I don't think that's a fair statement, but so be it, because I will root for
wear it with a badge of honor, Stephen. The shoe fits. Make sure to wear it.
No, look, Cap. I will root for whatever quarterback who's in a Miami Dolphins uniform.
See, there and again is your problem. You'll root for anyone who's a Dolphins player. I'm rooting for the Dolphins team.
Ultimately, yes, I am. I mean, I want the Dolphins. Look, there's a difference between rooting for them, like, okay, I want that for them, and also understanding.
Get on that for a second. El Capitan, when Skylar Thompson had to be that guy,
we were rooting
for him.
Yep.
Of course. Jason, I know you're an honorable person that you you would root for Skylar as hard as you root for anybody else.
If
Tua goes
down this year,
we got with you, Steven.
If Tua doesn't play in 3 or 4 games this year, and Mike White is the guy, you're going to see me cheering for Mike White.
Yeah.
Something tells me we're going to get our chance.
Well, you know what, Capitan? It's a football team. And hopefully, if that chance arises, next man up.
Here's the other thing I want to say or want to discuss to it. I believe that what I have seen with my, evaluation or, with my eye test, we all talk about the eye test, right? We all have our own opinions of what we see, and me, El Capitan, and Jason could literally be sitting right next to each other on the field, see the same thing, and have 3 different points of view about what we saw, right? And that's
mine
fair.
Will be the correct one, but continue. Go ahead.
So we'll do that.
If we're going accuracy record here, El Capitan, we don't want to bring those stats up.
So hold on.
I don't know. I'm pretty accurate, Sarni.
Okay, so we'll have 3 different ways of looking at it, right? And I don't believe that my way or my view of looking at this is wrong, because I believe that when I bring up my argument to my debate, I bring up facts behind it. Now, my issue that I have with people is that sometimes you talk about they don't want to hear the numbers, right, Cap? They don't want to hear the facts. The facts were there were tons of injuries last year. The facts were that Boyer played some horrible defensive schemes and really bad situations. The fact was
situational football for sure. He was a killer at times.
Exactly, right? And you take any 1 or 2 of those games where that situation might have come into play, you can't put the onus fully onto it. Now, when Tua for 70% of the season was playing phenomenal football, whether it was against bottom dive defenses or not, the man was winning, and he was winning games he was supposed to win, and he was putting up the numbers. He was putting up MVP type numbers. For half the year, he was in the MVP conversation. And I was 70% of the season he was playing really well. Now, at the end of the year, you can laugh all you want. Vegas had him in the top 5 of MVP ratings up until like week 12, week 13. He was in top 5. He was in the MVP talk. Those are facts. That's not my eye test. That's Vegas had it. Okay? So with that being said, all right, with that being the understanding, I'm sitting here telling you facts to back up my argument or my viewpoint. Yes, we had a buttload of injuries, but when some people say, "Oh, Steven, those are excuses," well, we could call them 2 different things, but the things I'm bringing up did actually happen, and you can't deny that. And they all play a role into everything. Now, my viewpoint of this year. Yes, I am a hopium guy. Yes, I am a glass half full guy. Yes, I want to look at the positive and bright side of things. But I'm not. I also understand what's on the line here. If Tua doesn't finish out the year or play, if he misses any more than 2 or 3 games, I know what the fan base is going to do, and they probably have every right to do it at that point. And I understand it, and I get it, right? But I also understand that the world is not over at that point. We still have things that we can look forward to. The Dolphins' offense for the entire season was top 10, and Tua didn't play every game last year. There's a lot of things to be happy about and excited for, including all the moves that we have made via coaching personnel, via player personnel. There are a lot of things to be excited and happy about. So when I tell you that, the Dolphins at the end of the day are suited to be in the best position that they've been in the last 25 years. And then a fan says, oh, this is the same thing we've seen for 25 years. That's BS. It's not true. We've never had a quarterback of this magnitude post Dan Marino. We haven't. Jay Fiedler, maybe. Okay. Maybe. But I think Tua is a better talent than Fiedler is. And that's no disrespect on Fiedler. That's my viewpoint. Right. So, and from an offense and defensive scheme, we've never had this much talent on both sides of the football since the 90s. Point blank. So this is the best. This is the best roster on paper we have had easily in 25 to 30 years. This is the best coaching staff we have had post Jimmy Johnson and probably Don Shula, to be fair. Right? And those are facts. And it seems to be that everybody is on the same page for the first time in a long time that I can remember. And I'm enjoying that. And that makes me excited. That makes me hype. That makes me think, hey man, Dolphins got a squad. And by the way, some of it, we do need just a little luck, which we have not had in years. We do need a little luck. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with me saying that, Cap. And I don't think that I should be considered a 2-and-ear because of it. I think I should be considered as Steven is if you want to call me a homer, maybe, so be it. I can deal with that.
Well, listen, I'm just trolling you boys a little bit.
I know you are. You and I are cool. You and I are good. And me and the family.
Here it is real quick, and I'll leave you guys with this. What we don't need is a repeat of last year, of this offseason we have this year. I'm going to be sick to my stomach if we're playing the hopium misinformation propaganda game again all offseason, because that's what I've come to see out of this fan base the past 2 off seasons is just BS propaganda, Photoshop with Tua holding the Lombardi trophy and all the made up stats and excuses of games started and finished and stats and what could or should be because of the most talented football team. It's BS. And if you guys want to get caught up, placating what the franchise wants you to say and do, that's on you guys. But I'm telling you right now, the only way we're going to stop this crap from happening to us as a fan base and hold this organization to its accountability that we should is to stop it. That's pretty much it, boys. Because right now, I get it. It's off season. We have a lot to look forward to. It is a good team, all this stuff. But if things fall apart for injury or Fangio's scheme doesn't work, if we got to wait for year 2 or there's growing pains or Tua's concussions, I don't want all the excuses raining over every friggin', spilling over into next year. It's enough is enough already. And this fan base needs to pull up their big boy britches and start holding people accountable. That is it. I will see you boys later. How are we not, Sarni? By pushing the propaganda.
We don't want to hear from you anymore, Cap.
How have I not held people accountable?
Yeah, see, now you got Jason going.
I mean, listen.
I'm asking. No, I'm literally asking.
I don't know, Sarni. I'm not paying attention to every little thing you do or don't do.
Now you're not paying attention.
I'm really not. I'm quite the narcissist. So honestly, I live in my own world.
How come you don't pay attention to every person's tweet or every person's show, Cap?
Because the reality is, if anyone should be paying attention to anybody, everybody should be paying attention to me. So
no. Cap, give me the update on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
What's up with Lamar?
What's up with Lamar?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Were you a guy that was saying Lamar's coming to Miami, or was that someone else?
No, that was not.
All I said is the facts are the facts. The Dolphins and the Ravens met talking about.
Okay,
Lamar.
so let's go over facts. I'm glad you mentioned the word facts. how are we not holding people accountable?
Or how do we
How are
hold
we
people
not holding
accountable?
people
I want to
accountable?
know how specifically Stephen or I, when we talk about
how
the
do we
negative,
as content
past.
creators hold the fan base accountable, or how do fans hold themselves accountable? That is a good hold the team accountable.
I would start with stop taking the ready-made format of propaganda that you can find on all social media, and then putting it.
Propaganda. Propaganda is a dirty word, and it's made to convince
As a
people
negative
during wartime.
connotation to
All
it.
right, so let's.
Oh, okay. So it's not
let's get
propaganda; it's facts.
work.
Then, so when I see a tweet come across with Joe Burrow in his win-loss column, and Justin Herbert in his win-loss column, and then I see Tua's win-loss column, and his win-loss column is better because they're only counting games started and finished. And then they're like, oh, it was done in shorter amount of time. This is the type of crap.
But
It's
that- all right,
embarrassing.
so
It's
to be-
embarrassing.
so
And
to
the
be-
fact that
all right,
people
so
in this
Cap,
community continue to
Cap, let me just-
regurgitate it is downright fallaciable.
Cap,
And everybody needs to get their shit
Cap.
together.
Cap, with that analogy that you brought up, which I think is a good one, right? At that moment, that's not propaganda. That is
Yes, it is.
no, it is not. It is using facts.
Oh my fucking
whether
God.
they may be skewed or not, but they are facts. Okay.
Oh man.
To fit
So
their
the world
agenda,
world
to fit
only
their
starts and
viewpoint.
stops with games
That's
to
not
a win,
propaganda.
to a plays and finishes. It's ridiculous, boys. Listen, I would sit up here until I'm blue in the face, but I gotta get
Yes,
into this
you
meeting,
would,
guys.
and you'd be ugly doing it too.
No, nobody makes
Yes.
nobody makes it look this good, buddy. All right, let's call it for what it is.
You, whoever
Now,
told you
listen,
that was
no
lying,
propaganda,
sir.
only facts, only good looking on this
Hey,
side. I'll
that's
see
the
you boys
Phins
later.
tailgate
Take it
new
easy.
motto. No propaganda, all facts. The Phins tailgate.
That's it.
That's your new
Salute, boys.
motto,
Take it
bro.
easy, Sarny. Take it easy.
Love you,
Steven.
brother. Be good.
Later,
Jason's
boys.
ready to kill
Be
you.
good,
Just so
be
you
good,
know.
Cap. Be good, Cap. I'm gonna shorten Capitan's name to Cap. A lot of capping.
That's Cap,
Cap.
as our boy Lewis likes to say. Last person, only a few minutes because Sarny's got to get out of here.
I gotta go take a walk. That's what I gotta do.
I think it's coming out of his ears right now. He made up a new word, falliceable.
I wrote that down.
It's not falliceable. It's just flat out. He could have just said flat out fallacious, and then that covers the board. There's a falliceable part of it.
Only a problem because it doesn't fit. It fits Cap.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit Cap's narrative. I agree.
Sarny, you looking good today, buddy.
Oh, thanks.
I like that jersey.
Oh, thanks.
I like the jersey.
Ricky Aaron. Appreciate
I love it. I do like the lid, Steven.
Hey man, you know my hat game is strong because my hat game is
man. I had all major league teams at one point. All and then there was the ones that got the Expos at one point. And then
he's got an Expos hat, and he loves his He travels the country. When he travels, he wears an Expos hat. True story.
What's so funny about this community is I'm reading the chat, and within like inches, I'm flabbergasted by Cap. It's propaganda. Like two conflicting, like little inches away.
But Jason, you and I have had the conversation. You're going to get that in this community. And that's fine. To me, that's the fun of it, right? And,
it is fun.
And
well, I mean, the thing about it is like whenever people try to debate, they don't understand the standards of debate, like, and where circular reasoning intercepts actual logic and stuff like that. So, like, I mean, we can argue back and forth, but it's still, all of us are still ended up in like a circular reasoning pattern anyways. It's all fallacious reasoning, and speculation.
To be fair, right? I want to say, because I am considered a flip-flopper in this community, that I am very open-minded, that if you tell me something that makes sense to me, I'm open to changing my perception or my viewpoint on something.
I get it. I mean, and you should be.
But with that being said, I also understand that what Cap, and I don't want to throw him under the bus, or what anybody might say is propaganda, is if you bring numbers to me, there are numbers for everything. And yes, you can make numbers fit your narrative or to what you're trying to act to. But numbers are numbers. They're there for a reason. Okay, they're there, and they have credibility, especially when you say, hey, look, I can compare these numbers to the rest. Now the other side of the debate can easily go and say, well, here's my numbers, and this argument supports these numbers support my argument, and I'll listen to it, right? And then at the end of the day, if I have numbers versus numbers in a debate and both sides of the argument are being supported by each individual numbers, then it becomes the eye test, right? This is what I believe. So in my opinion, in most debates in this community, it comes to it'll come down to what you believe a player is through the eye test or your viewpoint. And how do you get that? You get that by observing, watching the game. You get that by I have PTSD, the fan base has PTSD. Yeah. So think about other fan bases that have a history of winning. I think Ravens fans straight up tell me all the time, Tua's great. Tua's awesome. Tua's a good guy. I'm not saying every Ravens fan does, but I have a lot of Ravens fans that would say, I'd take Tua in a minute over Lamar. Now, I think they're kind of skewed right now because they're pissed off at him.
They're just mad about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's all emotional, right? There's emotion that plays into a lot of it. So whether I turn on the Phins tailgate, whether I turn on Dougley Duron, whether I turn on TD Phins talk, there's emotion that's involved to it. There's viewpoints and there's numbers. And all of them, I believe, can be factual when it comes to the numbers or looking at game film. And then anything else above that, I can argue my own numbers in game film and point to it and say, well, go look at this game and go look what he did here. Like everybody hates that when I bring up the Baltimore game. It happened.
Yeah.
Did it not?
Yeah,
right?
It happened. But everybody else is going to say, well, this happened right then. It's just not.
One thing I get all the time is what's his face from, was it Green Bay? Like the backup that got the big deal in Seattle or vice versa, that he scored 6 touchdowns. Matt Flynn scored 6 touchdowns in a game. And look at Matt Flynn. So, but again, you can make, and by the way, that's a fact. Matt Flynn did throw 6 touchdowns in a game. Matt Flynn had a horrible career.
I'm gonna give you a hot take real quick. What I think, and I think Tua plays all 17. I think he plays every game, and I'll tell you why.
The two in ear in me. I'm going to tell you I don't believe that. I don't believe.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you why. There was no last year. Last season, he had no real injuries besides the concussions. You know what I'm saying? Bodily wise, like physically, he was good the whole season. And that was a step up from what we saw the year before. And that the work he's done on his body in this off season, no matter if he's just like a little white belt in jiu-jitsu, that he's still learning, trying to develop a better skill for, X, Y, to Z. He's always trying to get better. And I think the way his body looks right now, he's gone to those depths to actually achieve that goal of being healthy for a full season. I think he will be healthy for a full season. In fact, I also think we're going to be returning to him, seeing him throw outside the numbers like he did back in college. I think it's just taking time because of that hip injury for his legs to get back out under him. You know what I mean?
You know what I will say? I don't know if you're 100% right on your thought process, but I can see why you have that theory. But what I will say is this year, because he's not learning a new playbook, they're going to open up the playbook more.
And that's even better
available to him. And so I'm going to enjoy seeing that there's going to be more of the playbook that is enhanced or created to make him even a better quarterback. So look, man, I love you. Your final thought of the day on Spread Kindness Friday?
No, man, y'all look great today. Y'all had a good day.
It was a good
Sorry, it's always good seeing you, buddy.
Always a pleasure, William. Appreciate you coming on. You have a good week.
Donate to the channel, help the channel grow, and hit the like
button. Oh, can I plug something real quick?
You can plug whatever you want, man. I know you do stand up. Plug it.
All right, March 19th. I'll be in Florida, Pensacola, Florida.
March 19th.
May 19th. I'm sorry.
May 19th. Okay. May 19th.
May 19th. I'll be in Florida, in Pensacola at Jordan Valley doing a roast battle. If anybody comes within 2 hours out, I'll comp their tickets at the door. It's only like $5, but like
the support is what is people coming out to support.
Pensacola, Florida, May 17th.
May 19th.
May 19th. Pensacola, Florida, May 19th. If you get a thumbnail made, man, give it to me and I'll plug it on the show.
I've got one. They're making up the battle cards right now. It's a roast battle, and those are way more fun. So like
I like it.
And plus it's like spur of the moment. You know what I'm saying? You got to be quick-witted to do that.
One of the things we want to do on this show is, because it is for the fans, by the fans, is promote anything that the fans do, and we want to support you, man.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Y'all have a great day, and again, it's Friday. It's beautiful out here, except for this helicopter running over our head. But
I mean, that might be.
Are watching you, William?
That might be the propaganda government, trying to find you and your Creole self.
Oh no, that's a plane with one of those advertisements on the back of it. Anyways, y'all have a great day.
Be good, man.
Hey, you need to do better as a coach out there with them kids.
Look,
don't make me come to Maryland and show you how to do this.
Why do you not? I'm loving it. I'm loving coaching these kids. It is I'm just enjoying it. But
Steven, I coached all my son right here. He's 20 now, and his older stepbrother. I coached all his teams and stuff like that. I was never like I just couldn't. I can't dedicate the time to coach. I can't be there all the time. But when I'm there, I'm helping coach. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting the girls in position. I'm making sure they're paying attention. I'm talk to your pitcher. Guys, talk to your pitcher. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
I love you, brother. Be good, Ice Tray.
Love you too.
All right, man. That's what it's all about right there.
Ooh, all right.
The other Stephen D may need to be the new coach. You're not lying. You're not lying about that. All right, it's Spread Kindness Friday. We had a good one today. We did over 3 hours on the show today. Wasn't expecting to do that. It was going up until noon. And then the conversation took a turn for the best. And it was a good debate. And it was a lively debate. And I enjoyed the show today. Jason, give me your final thoughts of the day.
Oh, boy. Final thoughts. Let's not create reasons to just break the glass and put our hands over the panic button in April when things are developing properly. People can go glass half full, glass half empty. I'm a glass half full guy until there's holes in the glass. And right now there's not any holes in the glass, and I'm still going glass half full. And the word propaganda is a dirty political word. Just that's a dirty word.
Yeah, Cap, stop using it, man.
And
although what did we say his new motto at the Phins tailgate is? No propaganda, all facts. Phins tailgate. No propaganda.
If that's how we're living life, let's hope that we're all going to stick to it.
I hope they make a thumbnail and a promo. No propaganda, all facts. Here at the Phins
fan base that, yes, the desperation of wanting to win playoff games, to get a Super Bowl, it reeks. It does. But we're all in this together, and I think that the people in the building right now are doing what they need to do, and hopefully people will stay healthy. Hopefully all these things that they've worked hard to do can come all together. I do think they have the pieces. Now the proof's got to be in the pudding. And I think that there was a good bunch of ingredients that the cooks were doing. So let's go, guys. Let's hope that it works out.
Before I say my final thoughts, want to remind you all a couple things. Please hit the like button. It helps. Please share the link. Let the people know that we're here. Stay on for my final thought. It's a good final thought, so don't go anywhere for my final thought. And if you are able to, only if you're able to, please donate to the channel. It goes such a long way into helping the channel grow, and we can't grow without your help. And remember, YouTube obviously takes a certain amount of the donation. So if you want to donate on Cash App or PayPal, that's always appreciated as well. And I just dropped the link for the Cash App and the PayPal there. But if you're not able to donate, that's fine too. Just share the link. Let people know that we're here and tell them to subscribe to the channel. That's how we grow. That's how we get bigger. Next week's going to be a fun show. Got a lot of work. Next week's going to be bananas.
Are we going to do a morning and a night, or what are we
We're going to do a morning and a night, man.
Ooh, okay. I'll be ready.
Yep. Friday is going to be very tough for me. So look, donations are more than welcome, especially next week, because I'm putting in overtime next week for y'all. Cause, All right, my final thought of the day on Spread Kindness Friday. I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger so people can see me. So we as people in general, I talk to a lot of Dolphins fans. I have a lot of friends in this community. And, you know, when I talk to them and I ask, hey, how's it going? I have recently gotten back through a lot of people, a lot. Hey, I'm struggling. I'm not doing good today. Or I'm having a bad day. And understand that the reason you're calling that person is because you got love for them. And you got, you know, you want to see them succeed and just be a great person, not only in life, but just in general. And so sometimes telling them the truth about who you perceive them as they are is a good and wonderful thing. And that what I want you to do this weekend or today on Spread Kindness Friday is call up a friend. And when and ask them how they're doing. And if they tell you that they're struggling, listen to them, be a lending ear, but tell them, hey, look, man, or hey, look, girl, whatever. You're somebody. You're great at what you do. You're the shit. You're awesome. I love having you a part of my life. I love having you a part of these people. And that's what Spread Kindness is all about. Because sometimes we just need to hear that we're not pieces of shit. Sometimes we just need to hear that we're not crap. Sometimes we just need to be here to say, you know, that today's a crappy day, man. And I wanted to throw that out there because I have those thoughts and feelings too, where I wake up and I'll be like, man, you know, I do something where it's predicated by how many views I get or what I do or the content that I create. And it's predicated on that. And it's fan driven, right? And so when I see some of my peers obviously have more numbers, I don't want to say, oh, hey, look, they have more numbers than me. I must be shit because I can't get more numbers than them. I've had those thoughts before, but I also know that when I really sit down and think about it, the 67 people that are on right now or the 110 people that were on today at one point, they're there because they appreciate me and what I do and how I go about things. But there's times I need to hear that. And there's times that people need to hear that in their lives, right? There's times that they just need to hear that they're good because all they might feel or internalize is negativity or that they're crap, because that's the way society unfortunately projects itself, especially through the social media. Because when we look at social media, we see all this good stuff and we're like, oh, I'm not doing this. Oh, I'm not doing that. We don't know what's going on in their personal lives. And I think everybody tries to project the positive of what's going on in their life, but nobody ever projects what's the negative going on. And we need to realize as friends, as a family with a PH, as Finlaws, that we can help each other project that positive image of each other. We can hold up the mirror, quote unquote, and say, hey, you're awesome. You're a great person. Just keep doing what you do. I like what Manzaccio just said. Just because you buy a blue check, don't make you verified. That's right. That's right. You know what makes you verified? The people you have in your life. And by the way, the other thing I'll say to it, man, is even if the people that are around you screw you over, know that hurt people, and you never know what's going on in somebody's life. And yes, it doesn't make it right. And yes, it's crap when it happens. But just know that, have empathy for people and know that for every screw over you might have gotten in life, there is somebody there with arms awaiting, whether you know them or not. So you have to always be looking for that relationship, that friendship, that business relationship, whatever it may be. Don't ever turn away from people, because that's what humans were based on. There's a reason that Adam needed Eve. He needed somebody else. Man could not be alone. Man was not designed to be alone. We cannot do it. We need people. We need other people. We don't need other Jets or Bills or Patriots fans, but we need other people. And I love you guys. And I really mean that when I say that. And the 67 people, 66 people that are watching, y'all are the shit that y'all stuck with me today. And I appreciate that. And I really appreciate that, man. That's my spread kindness final thought of the day, man. I think we all need to hear that a little bit more. And that includes me. I need to hear that more too. So I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes. And I need to do a better job of running this channel and being better and stepping up my game and doing better and making this thing go to the next level and not just rely on donations to obviously become what I want to become, but understand I'm also where I'm at because of the hard work that I put in, and I just got to keep grinding. And so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to keep grinding. I'm just going to keep doing my thing. I'm going to be here next week putting in the overtime. We're going to have a great week next week. I know I couldn't come through you today with the guest, but that's fine, man, because you got me. You got Jason, and that's all you needed today, baby.
It was me, folks. I was the special guest. No. So ha ha. Ha ha.
Oh, man. So, yeah, man, it's awesome, man. Real quick, let me just say goodbye to the people in the chat so you know that I'm thinking about you during the weekend. Walt Dog says, here's for you. You're great. 100. I appreciate it. Trucker Sean, love you, brother. Willie H, man, I appreciate those kind words that you said. B. McD, love thyself and air out your issues. Baby steps. You're right, man. 100%. Cap for Life said, I used to be a person until people ruined it. LOL. You're still a person, Cap. And despite the craziness and drama you get going on, we love you, man. And you're a good person. Noob says, I put my pants on the stairs and slide into them, Sean. I'm unique.
That's rather dangerous,
because we all put our pants on the same way. Willie H says, you're a great dude, Steven. Thanks for doing what you do. I appreciate that, man. It's true, man. You remind me of myself, man, always seeing the positive side of things and always being accepting of opinions. You're one of my favorite creators, Steven. I appreciate that, PJ. That means a lot, man. Thank you. Family. That's right, Trucker Sean. That's what it's all about. I love, Manza, that might be my favorite thing. Just because you got a blue check don't make you verified. I like that. There's just something about that I like. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. This weekend, man, it's going to be fun. Think of how nice May will be with those Bills fans, Steven. LeBron is definitely dropping 40 points this weekend. Don't get it twisted. Bills fans will definitely be in the chat or hanging out on Monday. That will definitely happen, bro. 716 Dolphin. Love you, Steven D. You're the realest out here. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. The orange Ricky Williams jersey that made the show, Manza Chill said. Willie H says, oh, yeah, that Ricky jersey is the
Ricky's this out of the woodwork
all time. That's right, man. Steven, awful quick to defend his Bills Mafia here. No. I'm just saying everybody has something to offer. Might always be great, but it's something. Okay. And by the way, my handle is at Stephen D SKPL, not Stephen D _SKPL. There's a fake account out there. Don't believe what you see on the internet. It ain't true. Dolphins for life, cuz. Just understand that. I love y'all. You have a great heart, Steven. Blessings. I appreciate it, Manalo. Thank you. Love y'all. Y'all the best. Hey, New Zealand, be good. Thank you for watching over in New Zealand. Wherever it is you're watching from or wherever it is you're watching at. Thank you so much, man. It's awesome. I will see y'all Monday right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Love y'all. Peace.
You know when to go with Phins, so we know when to switch. This year we got the golden pick. Time to see what that pick about. Bad vibes get sent out. Only fans up in this house. We been waiting, yeah, we been patient. Now it's time to cash out, no discount. Super Bowl, yeah, we in route. I don't know when, but it's close.